I don't agree with everything you said. I don't agree with conceding the position on pornography just needing to be created with more, brown bodies of color and armpit hair. I don't think pornography should ever be created, and I don't think it should be done with people with armpit hair either. I don't think it's
Let me clarify the difference between your two positions, okay? So we understand. We're pretty heated in here. Okay, you guys are both at about 5 or 6.
Believe in porn.
Yes. So Kai is saying that porn should never exist in society. Even your idealized version of porn shouldn't exist. So now the question is, sorry, hold on, I'll wait for you to finish on it. So
I think idealized porn is an oxymoron.
Yeah, so the question is, Lav, do you think porn can ever exist in a healthy manner? Because Kai is saying that even in the best version, it's still bad, and we should seek to remove it completely.
Hello? Oh my god.
Kill you.
Bro, what are you doing?
Hold on. She can't sexualize me anymore because I'm taking the appearance of a child. She
When
called
did I sexualize you?
me a cutie right before. So unless you're talking about the movie, you can't sexualize me anymore. I wasn't
sexualizing you at all.
Don't Don't act
wish I
ignorant.
was. That's a projection.
You're a succubus. Don't act like, oh, you wish I was sexualizing you.
You're
No.
like 18.
Do I look 18?
Right now?
Yeah. This is how I look. Nothing is wrong with me. This is how I am.
Oh my god, take it off. It's freaking me out.
Why?
It's
Maybe because
horrifying.
you
Your
can't.
shoulders are so broad.
Yeah, because I'm big. Because
And
I'm in
you-
the 1,000-pound club. Because I've got my gym flare in the DGG chat.
True.
Horrifying. Why'd you want to come in here?
You're basically making the argument against porn in the least convincing, least rational, and most awful way.
Oh
and
my
I need to put
God.
a stop to this. I'm also here
because
as
you're coming from
I'm
like
also
a moral
here.
standpoint.
I'm also here as an assassin for the Destiny.gg website. They've asked me to take care of you, and I am the weapon of the people. So
Good so far.
okay, so is your argument that we should just have more porn where like women have armpit hair? Did I hear that right?
I don't think that's like my whole argument, but if you want to like dumb it down to that, then sure.
That I think was like one of the big problems is I think you can't divorce this is a tangent kind of, but you can't divorce like your sexual identity or your attractions or kinks from the way you have conversation. It was infuriating watching like every few minutes you guys would stop conversation and get into like this like flirty, teasy tirade. And
That's what happens when people are attracted to each other.
well,
not true.
You wouldn't know
I
anything
know
about
that.
that as a Mormon.
No, I'm never attracted to anybody ever. I'm a
Well,
toddler.
you're not supposed to
Maybe-
act on it, or you go to the outer darkness.
Well, no, you can kiss people. You're just not supposed to have like, sex with women who have armpit hair before they're
You can't
married,
kiss
I guess.
people.
Yes, you can. Okay,
Not
we're not
alone.
getting Yes, you can. Anyway,
No,
we're
you
not getting
can't.
Okay. No, actually, Love, you're right. The religion that I am still a part of and do apologetics research for, no, you are actually correct. I am incorrect. You are right. Now I
Okay,
know how
what's-
this feels,
what's
Destiny.
What's the Mormon sex argument?
That's not like the way I would phrase it. I would just say that like pornography is bad, both like secularly and morally. Well, there's a variety of things, right? So if
You have a very tiny mustache.
Hold on, let him finish a fucking sentence. Lav,
is
you're
like-
cutting him off.
no, this is always how it is. Watching it was bad, but like experiencing.
Okay, wait,
it,
don't
I
do
know.
the meta conversation. Stop. You guys are driving me crazy, okay? Go back and forth.
Yeah, he wants to get into
No.
all
Hey,
the
I'm a kid.
misogyny he
I'm a
can.
kid.
Okay.
I have an excuse.
Kai, talk, Lav, stop interrupting. Okay.
Okay.
Jesus.
Thank you.
Behave.
So both secularly and just like from like a religious moral position, I think you can make arguments against pornography. The pornography industry normalizes acts which just shouldn't be normalized within culture. And I think you can make the argument that the ability to consume it and a depiction of it, no matter how consensual the depiction was created in or the circumstances it was created in, is still going to have a negative, outcome for the way that act is perceived by the broader public. And you were kind of making that argument that like, well, now, people think all these terrible things about sex that they see depicted in pornography, but you then said something that made no sense whatsoever, which is, well, what we need to overcome that is just more consent. We need like women run porn companies. Do you understand how that doesn't make sense?
No. That's not what I said. I made all
That
the
is
points that you.
basically what you
No, I
said.
made all the points that you said, and then I conceded to Destiny because obviously porn's
Why
not
did you
going anywhere.
concede? Why did you concede
Because
that?
porn's not going anywhere.
But I think it could.
And
I think it
but
totally
also,
could go
okay,
anywhere.
but Kai, we weren't also like debating. We weren't debating. We were having like a conversation.
You guys were flirting back and forth. I understand, but either way, it's not a point you need to. It's not a point
I
you need
agree
to
with
concede
you.
whatsoever.
Well, no,
Okay,
I
awesome.
don't think I
Then let
need to
me.
concede it, but I
Well,
did
then why
concede
did
for the
you?
sake of the conversation.
So for the
Because
sake of the conversation, you conceded a point you didn't have
I
to
would rather
concede.
have Bohemian dialogue where we're two people exchanging ideas instead of trying to change each other's minds.
Ideas aren't all you're exchanging, okay? Don't act like this is so innocent.
Jesus
Anyway,
Christ.
But you seem really obsessed with this relationship. Are you a little jealous, Kai? Do you wish I was giving you a little
no,
more
this is just
attention?
this is a frustrating conversation. I'm like known for being anti-incel, but you're kind of pushing me towards that direction. Either way, let me, because you said that we agree, let me explain what we agree on. Whether or not women are the ones producing the pornography, whether or not there's like that little TikTok party in the back room where they say, hey, my name is so and so and I consent to this and this is my boundary and this and that. Whether or not anybody says any of that, it doesn't validate the depiction of like rape, incest, or whatever else that's going to happen like 5 minutes later in the video.
Can you agree that there are many different issues within pornography that affect society?
What do you think I'm going to say to that?
Of course. But what you're not doing is taking them piece by piece. You're bigger picturing this whole thing, and there are definitely certain things that we can change to make it healthier, one by one, instead of just like disarming the whole thing, right? There's little fights that we can have and a big fight that we can have, but I think that it's definitely helpful to do it piece by piece, bit by bit.
Okay, so what does any of that mean? What you just said was literally nothing. That what you just said could be applied to anything that anybody has ever said, ever.
Yeah, because it's a philosophy.
Awesome. I agree. We should take it piece by piece. So what is like what does it contribute?
What do you have a problem with that I was saying, Kai?
I just have a problem with that. It has no substance. All of it is abstract. All of it
You've
like
said
is
everything that
applied.
I've said, but it sounds better coming out of your mouth for what reason?
No, it just makes more sense because I didn't concede the ground on like
You've agreed with everything I've said.
I don't agree with everything you said. I don't agree with conceding the position on pornography just needing to be created with more, brown bodies of color and armpit hair. I don't think pornography should ever be created, and I don't think it should be done with people with armpit hair either. I don't
Okay,
think
wait.
it's
Let me
good
clarify.
if
Let me clarify the difference between your two positions. Okay, so we understand. We're pretty heated in here. Okay, you guys are both at about 5 or
Just doesn't
6.
believe in porn.
Yes. So Kai is saying that porn should never exist in society. Even your idealized version of porn shouldn't exist. So now the question is, sorry, hold on. I'll wait for you to finish yawning. So
I think idealized porn is an oxymoron.
Yeah, so the question is Lav, do you think porn can ever exist in a healthy manner? Because Kai is saying that even in the best version, it's still bad, and we should seek to remove it completely.
I think if I take the black pill position, certainly I agree. But I think I would like to maintain a little hope.
I'm like the most white-pilled person there is, which is the other thing I disagree with that you said. You said like
This is hurting me. It's activating my autism, please.
What is?
I'm a primatologist. It's not a problem.
No,
Okay.
you just Hi, it seems like you're living in this like extremely idealized world that like just doesn't exist at all.
It's not even idealized. Okay, so the state of Utah literally just this year banned the accessibility to pornography on new iPhones that are sold unless you go into the settings to change it. The state of Utah has declared pornography a public health crisis. Most states would also do that. I don't know if you're familiar, but there's this principle called the Miller test, which provides a constitutional outline for which speech is acceptable or unacceptable. And within the Miller test, pornography would easily be it could easily be prohibited within the framing of the Miller test. It's basically down to what the state deems is prurient to the interests of their public or to their definition of pornography. But most states also have within their legal framework the definition of pornographic material that would fall under the Miller test. And so when you say this is something that's totally outside of reality, the constitutional and the legal mechanisms or structure for banning pornography totally exists.
So I want to
This
give you some
could
stats
totally
right now.
happen.
So Utah is
Let's go.
34th in the U.S. for Pornhub traffic.
Mm-hmm.
There's 16 visits per capita every night. The average Utah visitor spends 36 seconds less time on Pornhub than the average U.S. Just 36.
Mm-hmm.
The most viewed categories are lesbian, hentai, MILF, anal, the cosplay, a first-time anal, stepsister, Mormon, babysitter. So it looks like it's the same stats as every other state for porn. And it's even if they have outlaws for some things, they're still like 34th, so they're smack dab in the middle of like porn usage. So I don't understand what you think what they're doing is like helpful to any like
So
what have they done?
first of all, 50 divided by 2 is not 34. Second of all, what does that have to do with anything I said?
But what have they quelled? So you're saying like they've done this, but what have they quelled?
Quelled what?
No, like what has Utah putting those laws in place done?
It has banned the accessibility of pornography
No, but
unless the device
no,
is
but
otherwise.
okay, but people are still
Mhm.
getting it. So like it hasn't done anything.
That's why we move from that smaller battle. See, I'm working off of the framework you gave me. I think we fight the smaller fights and then we go to the larger fight. Porn is something that, although it is frequently used, is in polling quite
I thought we couldn't
unpopular.
do that.
Who said that?
You did. You said it meant nothing.
No, yeah. No, it meant nothing like relative to the conversation.
When I was
Anyway,
saying
let's get
it.
back on
Or
track.
when you
Let's get
say
back.
it.
No. I'm applying it to the conversation in a relevant way, but let's get back to the topic. So we're taking the smaller battles. We are declaring porn a public health emergency or crisis, which means
What does
that
that
there are
mean?
resources. That means that there are now resources that we could easily allocate to the fighting of a public health crisis. I wouldn't be surprised if there are within like some public health sector of each state or even the federal government resources that are allocated to the fighting of what are deemed public health emergencies or crises. So, or crises. So, if that is the case, then the allocation of pornography or porn use as a public health crisis we would reasonably assume allow us to allocate resources to fighting it. Another big thing we could do, we could break up all major porn companies because they contribute largely to sex trafficking. Pornhub is obviously notorious for this. MindGeek, who owns like most of these major conglomerates, is also, notoriously bad at taking down the pornography of people who haven't, consented to it or who even were minors when the porn was made of them. It would be so easy to take down these major websites, get them on like sex trafficking, like what would you say? Getting them on allowing sex trafficking or enabling it. And then you could also allow, like, I think what Britain was planning to do. I don't know if they ever put it in motion. You could easily make an age verification on all websites that, traffic pornographic material. Past that point, you can crack down on it by like
So it
taking more
makes sense that
tax
you're
out of it.
for it makes sense that you're like for just declaring it a public health crisis because it means absolutely fucking nothing. I'm looking at what that means, like what they're doing in Utah, and it means fucking nothing. It just means that
Please don't
the
say the
Mormons,
F word.
it just means the Mormons in Utah are like, this is bad. And like that's it. They're not reallocating funds to anything. There's not
Yeah,
more
just
therapists to
the
take care of
Mormons.
this problem. There's nothing. They're just saying it's bad.
Perfect. So now that you've said there's no more therapists, there's no this, and that, those are more things that we can also do by saying that this is a public health crisis. Okay, awesome. Then that's another thing that we can do. But you saying that like, oh, they haven't done enough now means nothing in the scope of this argument. All it means is that we should be doing more.
You've said that they've done things and that the U.S. should continue to do those things, but the things that they've done have done fucking nothing.
Okay, awesome. Then let's just do more. Then we agree. Then it's not a problem.
Then it's virtue signaling and playing religious optics.
No, I'm saying we ought to do more. So we agree. Why are you trying to like win a point on like why are you trying to do the debate bro thing?
You're very naive.
Laugh. You literally are trying to score a rhetorical point because you don't understand that we both agree. You saying, well, they haven't like, hold on. You saying, well, they haven't like added therapists is not an own to me because I probably agree with making more, therapists or allotting more money to therapists from the government or the state government or whatever in order to help people who have suffered with porn addiction or have suffered from sex trafficking or whatever. You and I don't disagree on that.
I think the point I think she's trying to make is that it's futile, that even though they've made efforts to do so, it doesn't seem like it's curbing the porn stuff very much, so it's not like worth putting research. That's the point she's
just
trying
so
to make.
Mormons can virtue signal for other people to just be like, this is bad, and they do absolutely nothing about
Now,
it.
now you're
Like,
just
they
being
do
spiteful
absolutely-
because you're an ex-member of the church. Now this
No,
is
I'm
just
not being
spite coming through.
spiteful. They're not fucking doing anything. It's
I
like,
think so. In everything
it
that you've
do?
talked about, you've added that word, the qualifier of Mormon. Now you are taking this like as a religious bite. It's like
You
it's
brought
just all
up
these it's just all
Utah.
these
You
Mormons
brought up Utah,
like
which has
stuck
one
up
of the biggest
people who
issues with not separating church
you
and
want
state.
to know why I brought up Utah? It's because I live in the state of Utah, and so I'm
I
more
used to
familiar
live
with
in
the
state of
political
Utah.
happening.
I used to live in the state of Utah, and I understand.
So you
what
shouldn't
you
have a
don't
problem with
understand
me
is
using
the
it as an
separation of
example.
church and state barely fucking exists in Utah.
Oh, that's based. That's based. You know, if
Course
that
you think
allows
this
us
is
to
pure-
ban more pornography, yeah, it's like literally my politics. Of course I believe that.
You haven't banned pornography. You
Hey,
haven't.
then we should do more to do it. But I just literally
It's
told you how it.
unconstitutional.
No, it's
Don't
not.
you know
Okay,
the
that's
Constitution?
that's not correct. That is not correct.
Is correct.
Okay.
Utah already tried to ban porn, and they deemed it unconstitutional. Retard. Come on.
Okay.
Hey, no name calling. No name calling.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and you
I'm
keep
off.
saying the F word. I'm trying to be respectful here.
Fuck.
That's awesome because you said that you did the thing that I didn't want you to do. You're a big girl. Hey, congratulations. Anyway, so like I just said, are you familiar with like the constitutional like weighing of like the Miller test and all that? This is like it's a highly disputed thing, and you're kind of correct when you say it's like unconstitutional because the way they ruled on the Miller test was like, well, to ban porn, it's like a case by case basis. To make a federal like porn ban would be really difficult to do because it's tough to say like, well, you know, our statute's pornographic or this, and that. But I'm assuming you don't know. Let me read out the qualifications for the Miller test, which are
One person applying contemporary community standards would find that the work taken as a whole appeals to
recurring interest. All right, what's the next one? The next one is whether the work depicts or describes patently offensive way, in a patently offensive way, sexual conduct specifically defined by the applicable state law. Now, I would assume, admittedly, I haven't looked into it, but I would assume because most states still have like adultery laws, and the state of Utah had a law against premarital sex until 2019, that most of these states still have on the books state law regarding what is patently offensive, you know, sexual conduct or the depiction of it. And then third, whether the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. Do you think most contemporary pornography would fit within the Miller test?
Most, yes.
As in, you think it would be excluded from it? Like,
Well,
it
hold
would
on.
be
Wait, when
legal?
we talk about wait.
You don't think that sex should happen outside of a fucking marriage, Kai? So
yeah, true. But I understand that legislating on that is probably not going to be as possible as breaking down big
when we're
porn
talking about
companies.
like actual facts, when we're talking about like harm, like not most porn is not like abusive to women in a way that is like actively like abusive, right? We know that a lot of popular porn is that way, but most porn, like all of the porn, not most of it is violent. It's just two people having sex outside of a marriage.
Also, I don't understand why. Isn't it kind of weird to appeal to the Miller test where this was invented in '73? Like, it seems like if porn like didn't pass, then it feels like porn probably would have been made illegal by now. No.
Well, the Supreme Court had like the big freaking boo-ha on this, right? And they were like, well, porn is one of these things that you have to handle with a case by case basis, so it's really difficult to like do a federal prohibition on it. But yielding to the Miller test, which is constitutionally enshrined, assuming there's not like a new constitutional debate where the Supreme Court is like, hey, actually, we're not going to go by the Miller test anymore, because unless I've forgotten something or unless I'm not privy to more details, the Miller test is still, applicable law. So legally, we have the framework for the banning of pornography in certain cases, right? So I'm not saying you're going to outright do it. And I understand, Lav, when you say like, oh, there's like a pragmatics aspect. But even within the pragmatics aspect, none of the arguments I made were incorrect. Breaking down major porn companies because they enable sex trafficking. That would be really easy to do. Pornhub had to ban like, what was it, like 80% of its content that wasn't verified just like not too long ago.
What a horrible fucking day that was. Oh my god.
Yeah, now you can't watch like
many
some girl who had gotten assaulted.
Oh my
god. Still on RedTube, still
so
on
true.
A bunch of other
so true. So
no, hold on. Wait, to be clear, it wasn't looking at people that had been genuinely assaulted or looking at people that genuinely underage.
It was just anything that hadn't been not all
anything that wasn't verified.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but the reason that this got such the reason that like sprung up, right, is because Pornhub was basically refusing to take down or was just not corresponding with somebody who did have revenge pornography posted and had child pornography of them posted on the website. So because the content wasn't verified and
wait.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, yeah. Let me pull it up.
It was acceptable that they were the spearhead.
Couldn't
Yeah,
you
so
literally
they-
always like shoot a DMCA towards any of these porn companies and stuff be taken down like within like 12 hours?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that was true or not, but I know in the case that made this like something that blew up nationally, it was that there was a woman who had the pornography made when she was younger, and
Wait,
she
can I? What
reached
do I?
out to
real quick,
Pornhub.
yeah,
and
real
they-
quick. What can I Google to find information about this?
Let me look this up. I would search up like Pornhub. You probably look it up in terms of like the content that they took down. So Pornhub drops like content. Child pornography. I would probably not.
Oh yeah,
search
let me go.
pornography.
Pornhub child pornography.
wouldn't-
That's what I got. Don't
probably
worry.
wouldn't search that, but like that was one of the big claims that they were harboring child pornography. Pornhub hosting illegal content.
But anyway, would you agree, Kai, that you need to be 18 to watch porn? Like, for starters?
If porn is to be legal, yeah, at least 18, maybe 21 or 25.
Whoa. That's pretty big. 21 or 25?
Yeah.
But you don't-
What
you
are
don't
people
think
going to do if they can't watch porn?
Well, no, I think it's like natural for us to like
Watch porn.
not watch porn, but like be really curious about sex. Definitely.
Cool. Talk to your parents.
You have sexual conversations with your parents?
I wouldn't call them sexual conversations, but it's like, yeah, I got the birds and the bees talk.
Sure, but some people have like sexual like needs.
Oh, you just need to. You need to see the depictions of your sexual fetish in internet pornography.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
horny.
saying?
Like most people get horny, yeah.
And so you need an outlet for it in the shape of internet pornography. What side are you on in this debate again?
Well, I'm
Sorry, you're
I'm- it's
flip-flopping
definitely not
again?
yours, I guess.
Are you
Definitely
flip-flopping
not yours, I
again?
guess. I'm not flip-flopping. I think that you should no porn should be free. I don't think that any child should accidentally stumble across porn.
Awesome. And you know that legally we can stop that from happening.
Yeah.
Good. Then we
Not
also
by,
agree.
Not by declaring it a public health crisis. That means fucking nothing.
Well, that's that. Like I said, that's not the be
I
all
think that
end all.
we can
It's not the
force
be-all.
force people to make it so that you need to put down a credit card to see porn. No free porn.
Good. Awesome.
And then
That's
you
a
have
good
to be
start.
of age, obviously.
And I think like the Forbes wrote an article about it. I can send it to you, Destiny.
Okay, yeah. So I don't believe this happened, but I do understand they had a problem with like unverified stuff being uploaded to the sites, and they did that. But
I'm sending you a Forbes article about it that I found.
I don't have. Okay.
Did you about to say you don't have a Forbes article or like a Forbes account?
Yeah, but I was thinking you meant Financial Times FT.
Typical mix up. Yeah, so here's just a quick thing they posted about it with like the key facts and whatnot. Because I remember there were credit card companies that pulled from Pornhub.
No, I know the credit card companies did it, and it was over issues related to them taking down stuff fast enough. But that story about like, I'm reading this story here. Last year, some girl wrote a blog post explaining how hard it had been when she was raped as a 14-year-old to get a video of the attack removed from a popular porn website. I don't believe that story. I just don't think it's true. I don't think she contacted them in the correct way, or I think she just made it up. I don't believe that. But I understand the other things about stuff getting uploaded in an unverified manner, and them like having to hunt down stuff that's uploaded like that, like similar to copyrighted content on YouTube, can be like a big issue. So a lot of platforms are very proactive when it comes to taking stuff like that down. So like that's why on YouTube you've got like the auto DMCA shit or whatever, and that's why now on the porn websites you have to be verified to upload stuff. I was just curious about that one story.
Yeah. Well, even barring that one story, I'll even say, okay, it's not real. Let's say it's like the.
Oh no, hold on, wait. Let me hold on. I gotta be ultra clear about what I mean when I say that. I do believe that child porn was almost for sure uploaded to those websites.
Yes. Yeah. No,
I do believe that like
specific case.
Yeah, and even that case, I'm sure that porn of her being gangbanged or whatever and raped or whatever was uploaded to the website. I just don't believe she contacted them to have it taken down and they ignored her, because in my experience, it's always been incredibly easy to DMCA any of those sites, and they'll take stuff down almost immediately. But
have you had porn uploaded to?
Yeah, dude, I've had revenge porn fucking leaked of me. Yeah, of course.
That's why you should have videos of yourself having sex. I mean, this is all just a big testimony in how you should produce pornography.
We're just gonna police people in their private lives.
No,
now.
I just think that this is just risk minimization. I think that's what it is. Like the number one thing that you should learn, like going into politics or whatever, whether or not you believe there's like a moral aspect to it, you probably shouldn't take pictures of your penis because it presents a huge liability. You're supposed to do things that minimize your risks and your liabilities. Yeah. I think
But then you're
especially
not
if you're
living.
in. Oh, then you're not living? Oh, okay.
That
Oh,
is
yeah,
true.
you're right. You're right. Yeah,
I
I'm not
think
having a happy life.
we're here. Like, listen, a lot of people don't think they're gonna go to heaven if they with good behavior, right? A lot of people aren't gonna get into the celestial kingdom. A lot of people are just here to have a good time, right?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, Lav. I think that you say all this stuff about having, like living your life risky, like, and this
I
and
don't
that,
live my
and
life risky at all.
okay, but you were basically just saying that you have to kind of undertake some liability in order to live life. That's what you
Yeah,
basically
some.
just said. Okay, awesome. So I think that the way that
Like, are
you're
you
living
not
right
gonna?
now, I think the way you're
You know
living
what
right
they
now with
say:
whatever
live, laugh,
liability,
love.
Yeah.
I
Are
think
you
with
not gonna go
whatever
skydiving?
I think no, I probably wouldn't. But I'm also just a more generally like
Cautious.
danger averse individual. I'm a cautious individual, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I would say basically, oh great. Now you talking about skydiving, it's like totally ridiculous. Oh yeah, yeah. So you can live your life however, right? But the kind of life that you're leading right now and this liability that you're taking up and whatever you may or may not have done and some of your outlooks, I think have led you to be far less happy than maybe I would consider myself. And you can blame that on like whatever external factors, but at the end of the day, it's mostly your lifestyle. And you are culpable for your own happiness, right? I think the life that I'm leaving and the life that I'm encouraging for others is going to lead them to more happiness. So when I see you like on here and saying like, "Oh, I freaking hate the internet. I need
Like
to get
you want
off
to
the internet,"
control everyone
and
so
this and that.
so that they
No,
can live.
I literally just want to tell you how to stop destroying your life, right? You have assessed most of your problems. You've assessed most of the things that are making you unhappy. All you're lacking now is the willpower and the drive to do things to make that situation better. When you said, for instance, like,
What
I
do
need
you
to get
mean?
off the internet, like when you said, like, I really need to get off the internet, you may have said that like kind of
Sounds like
tongue
a
in
joke.
cheek.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
about.
I know you may have said that kind of tongue in cheek, but
Yeah.
I think anybody can tell that you're actually probably a less happy individual than you ought to be or that you deserve to be. I don't know if I should say deserve, but I'll use it. Than you deserve to be if you were off the internet. So, what is the missing factor? You've deduced your problem. You've deduced the
Hi,
solution. What's missing? It's the
as I love
action.
that you
You're
think you
missing
can
the
fix
action.
me, as sexy as I think it
No,
is.
I can't fix you. You can fix
Um,
yourself, but you miss the willpower to do it. You're
oh,
not
my
willing to put
self-respect
in the
is
work to
crap.
fix yourself.
I think I this is becoming a sort of uncomfortably personal. But
Oh, never mind. Let's talk about pornography and like what you're sexually attracted to. Let's bring it back to that since that's
well,
not
no, we were
uncomfortable.
talking
Me
about
talking about you being happy
we were
makes you
talking about like a
uncomfortable.
broader no, we were talking about a broader sense. If you want to make this a therapy hour, we can.
We
I
could.
don't know if people want to listen to that though.
I'm
Maybe we
fairly
can have a
certain people don't
conversation.
want to listen to what's been happening for
Maybe
the last
me
half
and
an hour.
you, we can have a conversation if you're like really interested in it. But
Sure.
I think I'm pretty happy in my life. I think I'm happier now that I'm not doing sex work, certainly, obviously.
Awesome.
I think that most people are not happy doing sex work. I think
I agree.
it's really degrading work.
I agree.
I agree with like a lot of what you're saying. I just don't agree on prescribing it to everyone the way that you like. I think that you have like a very codependent outlook where you think you can like change people's
I don't
lives,
think so.
but
I don't think
you're
so.
also very religious. So I think it makes sense that you have that outlook.
I don't think I can change
I
people's
believe in
lives.
personal responsibility, and I
So
don't
do
believe
I.
that you have the responsibility to tell anyone how their life is going to be better because that's also
Huh.
off of your value system, not their
Okay.
value system.
Okay. So
And you have a
if
very different value system than other people.
then I have a question. If you know or if you have a friend who is doing things like say they're doing a lot of very harmful drugs, they're hanging out with people who are very dangerous, and you see them going down this path of self-destruction. Is it morally okay for you to step aside and let them do whatever without stepping in
Hey,
and trying to
hey,
help?
what do you? People are mad at me because I'm telling people to like think twice about when they go into sex work. I understand what you're saying, but the
Awesome.
problem is that I would tell my friend like you are doing horrible things to your body. Ultimately, though, you can lead a horse to water. You cannot make it fucking drink. And I do not want to create legislation so that I'm forcing the horse to drink, right? Because that's not my job. Also, I'm not going to
Huh.
live my life trying to control other people. I'm going
I
to live
agree
my
with that.
life in my light and encourage my friends to live their life in their light. But also, there's only so much you can do.
I 100% agree. I think this may actually just be that we haven't interacted too much, so you don't get my whole philosophy about this. I don't seek to force people to do certain things. What I want to do is make it easier for them to make good decisions. And what does that look like? What does that look like? It looks like no. It looks like removing some of the negative pressures that exist in the world right now. Right now, hold on. Right now, the way life exists, we have a lot of people who are very vulnerable. People like yourselves, people like, the young people. You mentioned correctly that the average age of first pornography exposure for men is like 11 years old. So understanding that, we live in a society where people are susceptible to so much negative pressure. All I want to do is take away the negative pressure and make a positive option more accessible. So I want to make pornography less accessible, if not inaccessible.
Yeah, so that's actually you controlling, though. That's
no, it's
legislation.
Not.
Yes, it is. That's you making it impossible for these people to make the choice for themselves. What you can do is add to the conversation, but you can't take away something from an adult.
Okay, so we think about like murder.
Based.
People still murder. People still murder.
No, exactly. People can still do stuff even if there is a consequence to them doing that.
How do you feel about guns?
I think when used right, they're good tools, and I think when used wrong, they're harmful weapons. Yeah, but a lot of people think you should
outlaw them because of what you can do with them, right?
I think if I
you're
this
anti-gun.
is no, hold on, no. This is the best way for me to draw it up.
How are you anti-porn but not anti-gun, Kai? Come on.
Because porn can't be used for good. Porn can't be used in self-defense, Lau.
Wait, porn can be used for good.
No, it can't be used for good unless you watch The Nice Guys and you're gonna expose the car company. This is a religious
thing. It is healthy to masturbate. It is healthy to see people have sex.
How is it healthy to masturbate?
Kai, come on.
No, actually, like I hear all the time people like it's healthy to masturbate because you won't get like prostate cancer. But I found no evidence that says that like
endorphins. It's healthy to know your body.
Okay, you know what else? You know what else probably releases endorphins?
Meth.
Yeah, no, literally.
Kai, I mean, you can't.
I'm not saying it doesn't feel good.
We have the urge. God put the urge inside of us.
Awesome. So maybe let's just not say we're gonna lock you in jail for masturbating. Let's just say maybe we shouldn't encourage it. Maybe we shouldn't encourage pornography or make it accessible. Maybe we should encourage parents to have like good discussions with their children about like why they should abstain from sex before marriage and how they'll feel a lot more worth personally if they do that.
You can
that's true.
You can do that with your kids, but
this
is America.
I will.
And
my kids are going to be very happy. They'll be fine.
And I'm a patriot, and I believe that you can have that. You can have that idea, and I can have that idea also, because that's the law of the land, baby.
Okay, so anyway, to kind of summarize the position we're at, no, porn is not like guns, obviously. But if we're even gonna make these kind of similar things to illustrate my consistency on this topic, if I could snap my fingers and get rid of all guns, I would do that absolutely. The existence of the gun has created the capacity for so much more. No. That's just literally true. It's created the potential for so much more harm than ever existed before guns. That's why I'm kind of like primitivist. I'm a primitivist, okay? I'm a paleo-primitivist.
Jesus Christ. Good luck with that. Good luck with your dream world.
It'd be awesome, actually.
Yeah, go back to Zion with all of your family.
It's called Deseret, actually, but...
Jesus.
Oh, well, there's Zion, too, but...
Yeah, there's also Zion.
Anyway.
Yeah, if you wanna do that, that's perfectly fine. The problem is that you cannot force it on other people.
Again, I'm not forcing it. I'm just kind of removing negative influence from their lives.
So like once you're an adult, you're able to make you're able to make bad decisions, and you should be able to make bad decisions.
I understand that, but here's what we're facing, right? Let's say hold on. Let's say we've got a baby. It's like, okay, what's up, baby? You can do whatever you want. We're not going to stop you from doing anything. Now let's have the hold on.
We're talking about adults.
Okay, then let's talk whoever. Let's talk about whoever, right? Okay, you've got this situation, you've got this scenario, you can do whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then you have another scenario where it's basically the same thing, except in front of them, you have the ability to commit a crime and then get away with it with no punishment. You have the ability to like rob or kill somebody, and that's accessible, and it's right in front of them, and you're saying you can do whatever you want. Have at it. Well, the people in the second scenario are going to be far more likely to do awful things that contribute negatively to themselves and society. My thinking is that if we remove the accessibility...
Off of what basis do you think that's...
Off the basis that they think they're going to be able to do something, they have the accessibility to do something.
What data do you have on that? If we got, what data do you have on if we got rid of the anti-murder law that people would murder more? Ooh. On what basis is that?
Wait.
Like, were you?
Do you think there's been a study done that says when we legalize murder, less or more murder or less murder happens?
Your brain, so you just believe that to be
this
true.
is just reasoning. This is just rational thought. This is not like I don't know.
Hit her with a common sense term.
I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry. I need to wind this down. Hold on.
Your thought is not rational thought. This is just your perception, your outlook. Then you have no data. Let me just. Okay, you sound like eerily. Not just in like your cadence, but also like in the pitch of your voice, like Hunter Avallone right now. You sound like Hunter Avallone right now. I've never watched Hunter, but I've heard a lot about
that. Is surprising. That surprises me.
Is he a lefty? What is he?
Yeah, he's like, well, what is he, like a liberal or something? I don't know.
He's based now.
Anyway, so
he's the married one, right?
Yeah, he's got like a minivan or something. That was a big point of controversy.
Based.
So anyway, look. Just be as serious as you can with me for a second. Do you really want me to produce evidence that says that if murder were legal, more people would murder? Genuinely.
So Kai, I think a lot of why people don't murder is because like they don't want to be murdered, right? Or because they don't have like the urge to murder, or they know it's like a net negative for society. People who are gonna murder don't care that there's a law. Right?
Can I interject? Wait, real quick, because you guys are fucking off. Wait.
Yeah, Destiny, jump in. I'm sorry to derail this.
No. You guys aren't derailed. I just want to make sure you guys are. I want you guys to be seeing each other, and I feel like both of you are unseen right now by the other party in this conversation.
I see Kai, and I think it's fine.
No.
Stop!
I've got Lav's camera off. Off, so I actually am not seeing her.
That's good. I've had her camera off the whole time. Okay, that's the key.
Let's go. That's a lie, but.
Okay.
I had to cover her camera up on your stream.
Yeah.
That's how I know it's
way
not true.
Too many knees over there, okay? All right. Okay.
And tattoos.
I think what Kai is saying is that obviously if you make some things illegal, even if some people do them, you're going to severely reduce the amount of actions that people do when you make something illegal. That's kind of what Kai is saying. He's saying like, well, if we make murder illegal, robbing illegal, yeah, it might not stop all of it, but at the very least it's going to stop some of it, or maybe most of it. It's like the goal. What Lav is countering with is Lav is saying, well, hold on. That might be true for some types of really horrific actions, maybe not, but there are other things that can be legalized where the effect seems to, or made illegal, where the effect doesn't seem to change it like that much. So for instance, like we had a whole prohibition, we had a whole war on drugs. These seem to be not very effective. People still had easy access to them. They still went after them. So is it really going to logically follow that if we make porn illegal, people are going to stop masturbating? Or if we try to like socially discourage it, are people actually going to stop engaging with it, or are they just going to do it in secret? And now it's like even more unhealthy. So that's where you two are at right now in the argument, okay? Go ahead. Either one of you.
Hey, so I don't even know how to say that, but
well, so the question would be to you then. It would be like, let's say you make porn illegal in your world. Okay. You're saying that like porn is illegal, people aren't going online, they're not masturbating as much, they have a healthy sexual relationship with themselves because they're not jerking off all the time, right? Now that's one possible world that you're saying is the only world. But what Lab is saying is there might be another possible world where like you make porn illegal, nobody's going online to masturbate, but now people are like masturbating in their rooms. They're like shy, embarrassed, ashamed of it. Yeah, maybe even raping each other. There's data out of, this is meta knowledge, but there's data out of Portugal that shows that when you legalize porn, sex crimes go down, et cetera, et cetera. But like, let's say that it is the case that now people are still masturbating, but they just don't do it to porn and they like are more secretive about it. Like, couldn't that be another potential world? Is it really enough to just say, well, logic, and then you kind of like automatically say that your point of view wins? Is it really enough to say that, or could there be multiple outcomes to making porn illegal?
Yeah, obviously it's not like logic and then shut down the whole argument. The logic was supposed to say that the accessibility to like this to some thing is going to definitely change people's engagement with it or their ability to take it in. So like Lav, if we're going back to the beginning of the conversation,
gun control.
No.
Okay,
kind of, somewhat, but no.
We know that so many people. We know that if you have access, like in Utah, you can be 16 and have a concealed carry permit.
Yep.
You don't even. You can go to a gun. You can go to a fucking gun expo, get a gun, shoot up a school the next fucking day. So why do you believe? Why do you think that should be able to happen, but also that we should make it so you can't see? It's you're making a complete religious moral argument because you're sex negative, and it's weird.
Yep.
And
First
you need to combat that.
First of all, I'm very.
This is a natural urge in your body. You're a growing boy.
Okay, so
let him
yeah. what I was going to say before I was so rudely interrupted, and I think we've gone over the gun control thing. The reason for it is like the natural outcome of having a firearm is not shooting up a school. It's a possibility, sure, but it's a possibility for anybody who has a
What's the
firearm.
natural outcome of masturbating and watching porn?
Natural outcome of pornography, in my opinion, is just always negative. I think
In
the
your
production of,
opinion, what does that mean?
okay,
What's the
so
data?
why do you
What
think it's why do you think
most of
it's
the
hold on,
world
hold on.
watch
Why
most of the
why do
world
you
watch
think it's bad that 11-year-olds watch porn? Why do you think that's bad that they're exposed to it?
because well, I think that well, one, I think that it kind of informs like a sexual script. So if you're watching the wrong types of porn, you're gonna be engaging in unhealthy sex.
So if 11-year-olds watch the right kind of porn, it'd be fine.
I think if 11-year-olds, the way that we have for years and years and years, like by looking at your parents' Playboys or finding a naked picture of someone
Okay,
around
do you
10,
think
that's
that's at
very
all
normal
comparable?
behavior.
Do you think that's at all comparable to
Yeah,
the
so I
advent
also
of
think
internet pornography?
no,
It's not.
exactly. So
It's
this is why I also
absolutely not.
exactly. I agree with you. This is why I also don't think that children should be able to stumble across like that much porn, right? I think that
Awesome.
it rots your brain. But
Okay,
I think it's also I don't think that it does the same thing to an adult who can also engage with it healthily.
you
Especially if you don't start your relationship with porn at 10 and you started at 18, I think you're probably going to have a healthier relationship with it if you start it as an adult.
okay, so you keep like stepping forward and agreeing with me, and then you step backward and you keep
Because
doing this like
I
two step.
don't have Mormon my brain is not on Mormonism.
That's
I'm not
fine. That's
brainwashed.
fine. It doesn't have to be right. But I mean, there's like all of these little hiccups. It's obviously not true that the pornography that existed like in Playboy magazines is similar to or comparable to in scope or effect to internet pornography. They're totally different.
You're trying to moralize around like watching people have
That's
sex
not
and
that's not
masturbation.
moralizing. That's just me saying they're totally different. And
No,
if you
but you said
believe, hold on,
masturbation
and if
is
you
bad.
believe
You said masturbation is
okay, yeah,
bad.
that's my personal opinion. I haven't seen the evidence regarding like it decreasing prostate cancer to be compelling.
We're
I
not
think
talking
people
about.
just
No one cares
like
about the
about it,
prostate
but
cancer thing.
yeah.
We'll just leave that thing alone. Yeah.
Then
The,
wait, what's the other argument for masturbation being healthy then?
what's the argument for being unhealthy?
That it's just this kind of bastardization of your ability to experience sexual pleasure. That should be done with a person who you are intimately and romantically involved with.
And what's the data on that saying that that's like that's just your
Well, let's not.
personal
Let's go. Let's get away from
Yeah,
data
that's
right now.
that's
Let's
a,
just
that's
talk
a
about
different
like
argument
because I think we're
that's
talking
like a
like
purely religious.
philosophical arguments right now. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're arguing for the same thing. We don't want kids to watch porn, and you don't want adults to watch porn, and you want to stop them from watching porn, but I don't care. I just want them to be watching. I know that they're gonna be watching porn, so I want them to be watching porn that's gonna like have the least amount of harm done on their psyche.
Here's the
Like
thing. Here's the thing. I don't agree that they are always going to be watching porn. I don't think that's true. I think that if you curb the
people have been
excessive hold on, hold
creating
on, hold on,
porn
hold on,
since
hold on.
the Middle
Let him finish.
Ages.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Let me
Lab,
finish.
stop cutting him off. Let him finish.
If you're arguing two things that are refuting each other. You're saying that 11-year-olds find porn and that they easily access it and that this is a big problem and it's very negative to them. And then you're also saying they're going to get it no matter what. They've been getting it since like the beginning of time. It's like either one or the other. Either you believe the accessibility of pornography right now is a bad thing for the 11-year-olds, or you're saying that they're going to get it so it doesn't even matter. They're always going to end up with it.
No,
I don't
want them to
believe.
I don't want them to have access to internet porn, but if they're
But
going
they're always
to
going to end up with it. They're always going to find it.
it should be harder. Period. Should be harder.
So now you just made my argument. You've literally just agreed with me. The accessibility is a very crucial thing as to whether or not people are going to take part in or can.
I don't agree with. Do you think I'm arguing that kids should have access to porn? What do you think?
No,
I'm I agree with
Okay.
you on that. The only thing that we
30
disagree
seconds
on
ago.
is that you
30
think
seconds ago.
adults shouldn't masturbate because you are religious.
Okay, now you're taking it back to masturbation. You keep like changing this topic from one thing.
only
Okay,
to
thing-
wait. You're both driving me crazy. Wait. Okay, hold on. Kai, make a solid statement so I can see where we're at. Go. You guys are driving me in circles. Go.
Just to drive this home, the accessibility of pornography is a major thing as to whether or not people are going to ever engage with it. If
True.
children couldn't Google boobs and find pornography, they probably wouldn't find the same kind of pornography, as harmful of pornography, or as much pornography.
Yep. We all agree with that, I think, right? Lev?
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Okay.
Okay. And you, Lav, believe that the pornography, well, let me actually just get this completely right. do you believe that pornography generally is bad for 11-year-olds, or just the wrong kind of pornography?
What do you deem as pornography? Like moving photos, videos, like what? I don't think it is bad for an 11-year-old to see a photo of a woman naked. No.
Okay, what if the capacity is like that they're Googling it and now they have like hundreds of images of women naked?
So if they Google like boobs and you see like scientific photos the same way that we all did when we were
Perfect.
kids.
Now the Miller test talks about scientific. So
let's not even talk about scientific. No one's talking about that here, right? We're not talking about like an encyclopedia.
But
we're talking
when
about
you look up, it's the same thing like movies, right? So should we outlaw like?
No, wait. Let's just focus right now on.
Shut up. Steven, shut up. One of my first experiences.
No, nobody's talking about like softcore porn movies, or nobody's talking about movies like when you see boobs in a movie. We're saying
Steven, shut the fuck up.
Hey, don't swear at Steven like that, okay? Also, why are you calling him Steven? Just call him Destiny.
That's weird. I looked up girls kissing, right? Like when I was a kid. That's like people look up stuff like that and it's going to show you like scenes from movies. Do we now outlaw all of those movies? Like seeing a naked body I don't think is that bad.
So
right?
let's focus on if you Google and see pictures of naked people standing there with their boobs and you're meant to masturbate to them. Let's talk about that specific thing.
Even posing, I don't think that that's necessarily bad.
So,
okay, that's what we're talking about.
Which is again what we would refer to like the Miller test, because what does the third part of the Miller test say? Whether the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. Now, we are running into the same problem that the Supreme Court ran into, which is that it is kind of difficult to create just a blanket statement on that. You have to go by a case-by-case basis.
Well, wait, hold on, real quick. Jesus, you guys are arguing past each other. That's not even what you guys are arguing, because I don't think she believes that stuff that you would consider quote unquote obscene should necessarily be held from children viewing it. She doesn't think that that's
then that's kind of what I'm asking is like, are you against pornography or just the wrong kind of pornography?
Against the way that pornography is produced.
So your problem is not what happens in the porn, it's that it's unethically produced.
No, it's also what's happening in the porn. So if it's like violent towards women, definitely.
And you could have just said that. So then again, and if you, we could escape.
There's no abuse in it. If there's just two people having sex and they're enjoying each other and orgasming, and you're also orgasming watching that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Then it's fine for 11-year-olds to watch that, is what you're saying.
No, I don't think.
Why not?
Well, I think if they're finding like one cassette video, I don't think it's gonna like ruin their brains.
We are gonna like add qualifiers to this until the cows come home.
Yeah, of course we are, because it's human nature, and neither of us are fucking like none of us know what we're talking about. We just have opinions online.
Hold on, Kai. This is what if you want to have this conversation, this is what you need to do. Give one concrete example and work on the one concrete example. Otherwise, the qualifiers are going to get added and the whole conversation falls apart. So let's say there's one amateur porn video of a boyfriend and a girlfriend having sex. There's no choking, nothing crazy. Everybody's respectful. Would that be a video that would be okay with like children watching? If that was one video they stumbled across, that's the question.
You got to give me more freaking advice on the debate stuff, because
now you
I'm
guys
slipping here. So, Lav, using that example, a boyfriend and a girlfriend make an amateur porn video. It's on the internet. Kids look it up. They watch it. Is that a problem?
If it's easy.
What's up?
It's a problem if they found it with like a one Google search. Yeah, that's a problem.
Why?
Because I think it should be hard for kids to experience things like that's obviously a big. At 10, you might be too young to grasp the concept of what sex should look like healthily.
So the problem is not the content of the pornography, which is just a boyfriend and a girlfriend making an amateur video. It's that any kind of that kind of explicit material is accessible by minors or by like 10-year-olds. Because to me, let me tell you what I'm thinking. It doesn't make sense to me for you to say, well, the problem is that they can easily access it with a Google search. The reason easily accessing it would be a problem is because what you're accessing is not a good thing. But you haven't made the claim that what is being accessed is not a good thing. You're simply saying the accessibility is the problem.
Because we can't like release one video at a time, so we like don't know what people are getting. So it could be like a video of two people,
I've given
like,
you the example.
two
I've given
married
you my
people
example.
two married people in love having sex in a
Hey.
in a 11-year-old watching that, or it could be like
Well, then
rape
what if it's the
dungeon
first one?
porn.
What if it's the first one? Because that's what we've been talking about. I haven't talked about rape dungeon porn. I've talked about an amateur video being produced by a loving couple that a 10-year-old is watching. Is that a problem?
I think I'd have to appeal to like psychology. Like I
Okay,
think that I think it could be normal. I think it depends on how the person is affected by it. I think a lot of like things go into play, obviously. Like if the person can't stop thinking about them and they feel traumatized, maybe not. But
Hey.
if the person is like, is engaging with it in a way that we do when we're going through puberty and we're attracted to watching people have sex, I'd say it's pretty normal.
So, well, normal and good are not the same thing. Normal and
I'd say it might be good also.
okay. So then if you're going through puberty and you watch an amateur pornography video on the internet, that's okay.
What do you mean okay?
You
Like,
have
do I
no
think you
moral
should go
qualms
to
with that.
jail?
Well, you just
Well,
don't have moral qualms with it. I'm not talking legally. I'm
It
talking
makes
just
me
morally.
uncomfortable. It certainly makes me uncomfortable.
Why?
Because I don't like to think about like kids' sexualities usually.
Great. Do you think children should be exposed to things which are meant to provoke their sexuality?
Should they be purposely exposed? Like, should we expose them to it purposely?
No. That's yeah. Obviously, no. We shouldn't do that.
Yeah, obviously
Unless
not.
yeah. Obviously, no. Do you
But
think children should easily access
so
things
we
that
know
are supposed to
we know that
prod
kids will
and
like start to touch each other and start to like hook up with each other around that age. So I don't think that like watching other people do it is like that big of a deal.
I
No.
think that's largely a symptom of the culture. I think when
That's
kids
not
see,
true. That's
I
been
think that
since
is
the
true.
beginning of time. It's we get our periods when we're sexually ready to whatever. We get
Are you saying then that that's when sexual encounters should be undertaken
sure not between adults and kids, but certainly between kids.
between two kids?
Yeah, but two 13-year-olds can have sex with each other. Yeah.
Do you think typically they would, if that had not been modeled to them by people around them or by the culture and society relative to them? Do you think that they would naturally do that?
This is the Adam and Eve thing. I don't know. Who's to say? It's hard to say.
I would
Culture is
say,
around
I would
that.
speculate. I would speculate no.
I never. I don't know. I think that from personal experience, I know someone in my life who did not watch porn until they were in their 20s, and they were having sex far before that.
Who modeled that to them? Did they have people around them who were also doing that?
Well, I think that we're never going to not talk about sex, right? So we can stop like showing it in movies, but we're never going to stop talking about it because it's like really pervasive in our lives. It's very important to us as humans.
True.
So we're going to know.
I think it ought to be
We're
important.
going to always know about sex, and we're always going to want it. We don't live in a world where like our brains are just like completely pure. We don't think of sex because it's like all around us. So it's hard to like.
No, stop. You know what you just said.
No, not all around us in a way that's like always unhealthy, but in a way like we.
No.
know
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
We know
Stop.
that people get
Stop.
pregnant.
Just
We know
stop.
that
Just
people
stop.
have children.
Just let me finish.
Okay.
You just said all around us. It's
Yeah.
kind of the argument I'm making is that when something is all around you, when something is informing the way you interact with the opposite sex, with the world, in whatever capacity, your perspectives, your interactions are going to be shaped by that. The answer to that is not to say that any sexual encounter ever is a problem or to say that, any, sexual attraction is unnatural, because obviously it's not. It's simply to say that maybe these kind of informers of sexuality and these things that you argue children may go to develop a sense of their sexuality when they're young, whether that be porn, whether that just be apparently fooling around with other kids their age, which I don't think is the case unless they've seen that modeled by other people. I think ultimately, if the accessibility and the proximity is removed, things would
kiss
change.
when you're a kid. You see people kiss, you want to kiss. You see people hug, you see people make out. It's like nothing's gonna change.
What do you what do you think about anal sex? So if we started just
What do
saying,
I think about it?
so
You want to know my opinion?
if we started teaching kids about anal sex all the time, or we started doing this and that, by what you've just said, we would reasonably assume that kids would be interested and want to do that for themselves. Correct? That would follow, right?
I like at a rate that is more than now, because we don't really talk about anal sex in like sex ed, and people are still doing it.
We do more so now. Yeah, no, they're like anal sex is totally something that's been introduced to health classes and whatnot. I remember in my health class, it was like a big joke. It was like, can you get pregnant from butt sex? One of my buddies, Jonathan, wrote that down on a card, gave that to the health professor, and she was like, that's funny. No, you can't get pregnant from butt sex. Now, because so much of our society, our media, our culture, etc., has enveloped anal sex and other forms of I mean, the biblical term is sodomy, but things that are not reproductive sex. Because we've modeled this, we've made it popular, it's reasonable to assume that that's why kids are doing it more. If the model for kids was you have sex when you're married to somebody,
having more anal sex now than we have before. Where's the data on
that? I think before anal sex was something that was popularized by culture. Yeah.
Where's the data on that?
I don't have a study that tells you that anal sex. Okay.
How do you know that this is? How are you using?
Because I can reasonably assume it. Destiny, am I out of line in assuming that follows? And by the way, all the assumptions I'm making are from the way you've described children acting in certain ways.
In Rome, when they were just like fucking anyone, do you think?
Yeah, that was part of their culture. Absolutely. Their culture being full of like anal sex and sodomy and whatnot. Yes, that was probably why more people did it back then. And then when less people did that,
they didn't have like videos.
Yeah, but like the person who you talk to every day was doing that, and they were like, "Yo, you should do this." I mean, obviously the medium will kind of change over time.
So you don't even just believe in not having access to porn. You believe that we shouldn't even be talking about anal sex.
No, I think that talking about it is definitely going to drive more people to it because there's a socialization aspect,
so you don't
the one
think
that you've agreed
we should
to.
Be talking about it either. You don't think about sex in general.
No, I think that we should be talking about sex, maybe just not anal sex, and maybe just not in the ways that it's being done right now. Sex is something that is necessary, absolutely, but let me ask a question. Do you think that the rates of anal sex were the same in like ancient Greece and in like puritanical Europe?
This question, I think
This is actually this is a valuable question. Do you think the rates?
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even.
No, it does.
Matter.
It does.
I don't think that anal sex is as bad as you think it is. So
well, that's fine. That's fine. You don't need to. We don't need to assign a moral value to it. All I'm assigning is like.
Every time you talk about throughout this whole conversation, you've been like, okay, masturbating is like not good for you. Anal sex is not good for you. Casual sex is not good for you. Why is casual sex why is sex not good for you? Like
I think casual sex is degrading. So the sex is.
What if you're having sex with like your best friend?
Sex is the greatest display of physical intimacy that you can have with somebody. There's an emotional bond created between two individuals when they have sex together, and that's been really well studied. So if you then express the greatest form of physical intimacy with people who you have not also decided to give a form of just personal intimacy outside of the sexual, it can be demeaning. You have now something which is of crazy value, and you are providing it to somebody who you have not.
The value?
Didn't you just agree that this was like the greatest expression of sexual intimacy?
Sure, but so my
the value.
Why I'm against it is that you could potentially be putting yourself in like an unsafe situation, so someone could not honor your boundaries, and someone could not someone could end up hurting you.
That's one as well. That's one as well.
You're coming from like a purity culture that
that's not what I'm saying.
Purity is like worth a lot.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is worth a lot is the respect that you give yourself and the respect that you give like that investment. Hold on.
Adding now morality to sex,
please.
No, because you're circling and you're looping. And
I'm not circling and looping. I just have to kind of rehash things when you interrupt me in the middle of a thought.
Go ahead.
I'll circle and loop a lot less if you let me finish. Appreciate that. Jeez. The thing I'm trying to explain is that sexual intimacy is something that is important to people. That goes without saying, right? And this is sex is the greatest way of showing that intimacy or that affection towards somebody physically. So if you are sharing that form of intimacy with somebody who you have also agreed to have this.
Wait. Your mic just switched to something. I don't know what happened. Your main mic
Really?
shut off. Oh, wait.
What?
It went back. It went back.
It's back.
What?
Sorry, okay, go ahead. You're good.
It was gone.
Anyway,
Sorry, keep
so
going. I'm sorry.
yeah, I appreciate that. So if you're then providing that greatest form of intimacy to somebody who is not willing to stick around for you and not willing to invest in you in the long term, that's probably like a waste. You have now wasted that expression, that bonding experience on somebody who's not willing to see something past that. And that might make you feel very bad about who you had sex with. It's a meaningless sexual interaction, which is what a lot of people say. And many people experience depression because of meaningless sexual interaction. My argument is that, and of course, this is a religiously inspired thing, but I think it's reasonable from a secular perspective as well. If you save yourself for marriage and you make a commitment, you say that the bind of marriage or the bound of marriage is going to be this unifier of us, and you could rope in God or you could just make the secular. This will be a unifier that I have not given to anybody else in the world. And then after we have that unity, after I've shown that devotion, we will engage in the most physically intimate act that we can. I think that is of much greater value than the prior example, right? And I think you'd be hard pressed to say that having sex with somebody like whoever, Joe Schmuck or whatnot, is going to be as meaningful as having sex with a person you have committed the rest of your life to.
I accept this reality for you. I really do. And I think that that will be true for you, right? However, in my life, I have a completely different experience where I have sex with my fiance. We feel very connected. I love it's unlike any sex I've had with anyone else. I've had sex with also plenty of other people, and it has not made it any less special with my fiance.
I have a question. What makes the sex with your fiance different from the sex you've had with other people?
How safe I feel, how much I love him, how much I know he loves me.
But at the time you had sex with the other people, you loved them, right? Like if you were in a different relationship prior, you've never loved anybody?
Well, no, I not like I love my current partner, but I haven't.
The thing that makes you say
I certainly
that
didn't love a lot of the people I had sex with before I met. No.
the thing that makes you say that I don't love them as much as my current partner is simply that he is your current partner, right?
No.
So if I said
he is the most compatible with me, so I love him.
Which
the
is
most
why you're
because
with.
I've been with him the longest. I feel
That's
the
why
safest
you're with him
with
now.
I like him the most, so I love him the most.
Yeah. That's why you're with him now, right? But at one point in time, you felt the same thing for somebody you were in a relationship with prior, right? Which is why,
Not at the same degree.
Well, of course you can say that now, right? You can always say not to the same degree, but at the time you were feeling the exact same thing. The ex-person I'm in a relationship with now.
I felt nothing towards that. I just wanted to have sex with.
We're not talking about those people, right? But
that didn't make it any less special to have sex with the people that I did love.
Yes, but
even the people that I did love.
Now the expression of intimacy that you're having with your boyfriend is characterized not by the expression itself, but more so by the feeling that you have with the individual.
Which makes it more special, I think.
It does. But the act is something you've shared with plenty of people. So I'm not disputing.
It doesn't make it any less special that I'm doing it with him.
No, I think it does.
In fact, now I know that this sex is really good because I have something to compare it to.
So true, Queen. But no, I think that it does make a difference. I think that what is uniting you and your fiance now, I think what's uniting you and your fiance now is the fact that you have this kind of emotional connection. And certainly, the sexual interaction is going to be positive for that reason. But it's not the sexual novelty. It's the emotional novelty. And that is literally the reason why I'm saving myself for marriage. It's because I want there to be a sexual and an emotional novelty. And when the emotional novelty exists,
and you can do
and
that.
the sexual expression is also novel, I think the capacity to love a partner and to unite with them is far greater than in your situation.
And that might be true for you.
And I think it's true for most people. I think if you had never had sex with anybody and then you married your fiance and you had that emotional connection you guys do and you had sex, I think you'd be happier than you are right now.
Damn.
Could be true.
Wow.
And I think you've deprived yourself of a greater unity because of that. And all I want is for people to have the greatest capacity and the greatest opportunity for human flourishing and happiness. That's what I want. I don't hate you. Despite what the Destiny chat would want me to do, I'm not going to kill you and I don't hate you.
Oh,
But
geez. Well, I no,
I'll leave
I mean,
I'll leave it
I
to
understand
Steven.
that.
Steven is
And I
going to kill you.
actually, and I actually do think that that's like sweet, and I think that it's like a, it's valiant effort for you to try to do this. I think that you do this out of a place of
Why are you so
love.
condescending about it?
I'm not being condescending, really. I'm actually being genuine. I'm really not being
Okay.
condescending.
Okay.
I'm speaking to you on a person-to-person level. Sorry if I sound smug, but
No, it's all right. I don't
it's
think you can
hard.
help
It's hard
it.
because we've been fighting this whole time, so you think that I'm not being genuine. I switched into it too fast, I think. But I do actually like. I think you're coming from a good place. Obviously, I don't think that you like want people to like not be happy. I think that you just are really stuck in your values and your way of life, and you want that for other people. And maybe you won't believe me when I say this because you never will because of your values, but I am extremely happy. I'm very happy sexually with my partner. I'm happy I had all the sex that I did before I was with my partner. I'm happy about the sex I will have in my future, whether it be with my partner or not with my partner. I like to have sex. I like to feel desired.
Really?
What?
You do?
Yeah,
I hadn't gotten the sense that you liked having sex by
I
you
really do.
using that as the metric for how much you love your partner in like the 30
I
seconds prior. But
yeah, I
oh,
really
you do
do.
love sex. I'll write that down. You do
Yeah,
love sex.
I love sex with people who honor my body and whose body I honor. I think the sex is better when you are emotional with someone and you feel safe. But and I also don't think that I wouldn't tell any of my friends to have like one night stands. I don't think they're like good for you. Not because I think that humans are supposed to attach to each other in a way that we're not with hookup culture. I think we're dehumanizing each other. But I don't. That's not like a religious thing. That's like a very like secular humanist standpoint where I just don't think that we should be dehumanizing each other. But I don't. I think that
Do you have an open relationship?
wouldn't you like to know?
No, it is like a very prurient question to like this conversation.
Perhaps.
Are you not feeling sexually fulfilled in your relationship with your fiance?
To be quite honest, I'm a bit insatiable, Kai. I don't know if any one person can satiate.
Oh, okay.
No comment. I rest my case.
Jesus.
No, but I feel extremely happy. And very. I think we have different outlooks on sex. I feel
I think we might. I think we might.
Emotionally completely taken care of. Completely. I don't need anything else from anyone else. But
That's wholesome. That's wholesome 100.
But sexually, I mean, I am bisexual also. Like, I would like to have sex with girls also.
What hobbies do you have?
I am a semi-popular indie singer. I used to play sports before my heart condition. I pole dance. That's good. I have like a lyra hoop, which is like a gymnastics aerial hoop. I read. I write. I have sex. Why'd you ask me what hobbies I have? Do you want to see if I'm like
I was
just
wondering.
too bored?
No, I was wondering if it would be as easy to like come up with like things that made you unique as it was just like talking about sex just for like 30 seconds straight.
You're slut shaming me because I feel because I say
Maybe.
that I
I think so.
because I say that I like to have sex like any normal woman does.
You
You're
didn't just say it
dehumanizing
once. You made it
me.
very
You're
clear. You made
dehumanizing
it
me
very
and you're
clear.
stripping me of my personhood and how complex I can be because of my relationship to my sexuality, and I think that's really unfair. And I think that porn has done that to you.
Actually, I took a great
The
deal. I took
idea
a great
around
deal.
porn
I took.
has
Hold
done
on.
that to you.
I took a great deal of time to ask you what your hobbies were, so I could see if you were in fact detached from any further value or meaning other than your sexual identity.
Before I was an e-whore, I was a very successful songwriter.
What made you quit that?
Jeez. I really didn't like how the industry was very disgusting to me.
So you switched to e-whoring.
Yeah. And then I stopped because the industry was very disgusting to me.
I was about to say, how are we feeling about about that profession change?
I should never have been a sex worker ever. I should have never been a sex worker.
And you discourage that in other people as well.
Yeah, I think that very few people can do it. But I think that sociopaths exist. I think that people with, high agreeableness and less sensitivity to their bodies and their relationship with their body certainly can do
That's
it.
me,
But
100%.
yeah, but I can't. And also, there's when we talk about sex work, and you know, I think it's also like, you know, some people who with like muscular dystrophy or people who like can't, who are disabled, have to pay sex workers in order to have sex and be intimate with people. I think that's very beautiful. I think that there are certain capacities in where sex work can be like extremely rewarding also.
Wow. Are you gonna let her get by with that one?
So true. What's up?
You gonna let her skirt by with that answer?
Yeah, I'm not intimately familiar with the sex relationships between prostitutes and disabled people, so I don't know. Might be true. I'll let
Usually,
you skirt away with that one.
Prostitutes. So prostitutes is like a way to denigrate someone who's like a. It wouldn't be. It would be someone who's like basically.
Isn't that just like the like?
Therapist.
Isn't that just the term?
No.
So it's a sex therapist. So they have sex with you, you pay them, and then they ask you about your feelings.
Based.
So it's like a prostitute is a negative connotation word. It's
Why
like
is that?
It's not a slur, but it's like a hook. It's like saying hooker for sex worker.
What's bad about that?
It's moralizing. It's moralizing.
Moralizing?
Yeah, you don't know what that is.
No, I just don't know how that applies. Like maybe I don't know the definition of moralizing. Did you say demoralizing or moralizing?
No, you are moralizing.
What she's saying is that it's a normatively loaded word.
Yes.
Like if I were to call you a fundy,
yeah, for real.
And then you would have like, what do you mean I'm a fundy? And I'm like, oh, I just meant that I was describing that your beliefs are somewhat fundamentalist. No, fundy is kind of like an insult, right? It's like a normatively loaded word.
I had no idea what the word fundy meant.
You've never heard? I feel like I've heard people say, like fundamentalists sometimes are called fundies or whatever. I've heard that in.
I've never heard that.
Oh, well.
That's cool though. I'm
But
gonna start
anyway,
using that.
I think it's
like
really
cracker.
interesting that so many people thought that I had Kai's position, and I very clearly am like very much in the middle.
Well, I recall you, in fact, saying that you agreed with my position the first time we ever talked.
No, I agree with I agree with some of your positions. But I don't agree with all of them. And I don't agree with all of Destiny, where he's just like, sex work is whatever, it doesn't affect anyone. I don't know. I have a good
Whoa! I did not ever say that. Do not strawman me.
Your whole thing is like, most people have a good relationship with porn.
Strawman alert. Whoa, strawman alert. Oh my goodness. Is that Destiny getting strawmanned after spending fucking 2 hours holding your hand in the gentlest way possible through the conversation? You're gonna strawman my fucking positions?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should be.
Move.
Calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down. My positions on all
Destiny's
this
going
are
to kill you now.
very coherent and very consistent. Thank you very much.
So true.
Yeah, I think that I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm also shoveling out where I am right now because I don't want to make prescriptions like Kai.
Yeah, because you might end up like happy.
Yeah, and God forbid, I wouldn't have anything to complain about. As a Jewish woman, that's like my main hobby.
We'll touch base in like in a year, and we'll see what your internal happiness is like.
I'm coming out to Utah this week. Would you like?
I'm leaving Utah this week. Perfect timing.
No, I was gonna say you can bring me to church.
Yeah, no, you can actually come. You can come to the YSA ward. You're not above 35, are you?
No.
Okay, just have to double check. Yeah, you can come to the YSA ward. I'm not gonna be there. Actually, I might get back. I forget. I'm going out to West Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
Yep, big time. Hey, I don't want to derail too much. Destiny, thanks for dragging me on. I think I've said about all I need to. Appreciate it.
Do you really? Wait, do you really feel this way about your positions on sex?
Yes.
You don't think it's a little bit cringe?
Which part?
All of it.
Being cringe is based.
Why do you think that doing something with somebody only one time is a better thing than exploring something with multiple people?
Because I think it's an expression of commitment, right? Like to save yourself for somebody before you've even met the person is such an intense kind of love that you're feeling for the relationship that you're trying to build. It's a way that I would compare this is like if you go to date somebody and the person who you date a week prior to the relationship or even a day prior to the relationship had sex with some random person or whatever, or had sex with some guy that maybe they were even emotionally invested in. And then a day later, you guys were officially dating and it was monogamous, it was exclusive. How would that make you feel? You'd probably be like, okay,
I'm in an open relationship, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, true. I think most people would be like, wait a minute. What is the difference between today and yesterday? what yesterday compelled you to have that relationship with somebody else, and what today compels you to be monogamous and to be one-track minded with me. And I think that's kind of the same principle that I'm expressing with like this closed offness, or rather the abstinence till marriage. It's that we are trying to value that relationship that will ultimately happen even before it happens as a sign of respect to said partner.
Okay. You ready? I'm going to talk for a second. Okay.
Yep.
So a lot of these words are a little bit circular. When you say it's an expression of commitment, only insofar as you view that as being a type of commitment. For a lot of people, that has nothing to do with commitment, right? You could save yourself arbitrarily for any number of things with a given person. It could be kissing, it could be sex, it could be giving somebody a back rub, it could be going to see a movie, it could be going skydiving. All of these things theoretically could be an expression of commitment, but none of these things are like grounded out and that like this is a thing that has to be saved or this is some objective truth or whatever. It's just a thing you're kind of subjectively choosing to value, which could have some like other foundation, but I just want to be clear of that. Because also you're also saying things like valuing the relationship, sign of respect. These are all things that are kind of true, but only insofar as the other person agrees with you. For some people, there's not going to be a value there. I feel like I would flip this to some extent. Something that I feel like when I listen to you talk, this is true of a lot of religious people, is you seem to value sex. Or there's a value to that act of sex. I don't think that sex in and of itself is a very valuable thing. I think that sex is attached to another person. And I feel like the value that comes from having sex with somebody you love is that when you have sex, there's going to be uniqueness to every person you have sex with. So the sex that I have with my wife is a lot different than the sex that I might have with somebody else. So just because I have sex with two different people doesn't mean that I'm somehow cheapening it because there's not a novelty attached each time to a new person, because the experience with every person is like a fundamentally different thing. Having sex with other people doesn't make me not like my wife, or it doesn't make me not appreciate sex with my wife anymore. Each of them are their own kind of like different acts. I feel like there are other parts of a relationship that are really important that don't require you to save like the novelty of an act in order to make that relationship an important or a special thing to you. I think that's a totally separate like thing you can have for a view of like what makes a relationship good or functional.
Okay. So about the first thing regarding like the commitment, this is true, but I think that sex is different than most of those other things, both just like psychologically, there's like I would say there's more physical vulnerability than say kissing or even like oral sex. And I think there's an evolutionary psych position from it, but there's also just like the release of certain chemicals in the brain that create a bonding between two people, with sex in particular, not just with the release of endorphins. Like if you were getting a hand job, it's going to be different if you're having sex with somebody, and the vulnerability is part of that. And there's other things too. So I think that sex is demonstrably different than skydiving or kissing.
What's the vulnerability difference between like a penetrative sex and oral sex, or like a hand job?
I think that part of oral sex, I don't know, this is totally just me spitballing because this is something that I haven't had to articulate. It's just kind of like a sense I have. I think oral sex is in many cases demeaning. I think it's something that is less requiring of I think it's less requiring of both partners in most instances.
Okay, so you believe that every sexual experience should be completely equal. So a woman
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Okay, well, what if I'm giving
But
someone
no, I mean, sure, yeah.
want one and I really want to make my partner happy?
Wait, say that one more time.
What if I'm giving someone a blowjob because they want one and I really want to make my partner happy, and it makes me feel good to make them happy?
Cool. I was just kind of articulating the point where I think that like sex in the penetrative sense, for procreation.
So it's.
I think in many cases, yeah.
But you
I'm not
can't
saying in all
explain
cases.
why.
No, I just did. I didn't say that in all cases. I said that I think in most cases it can be kind of degrading.
Can you expand?
It requires more
hold
from
on.
a partner.
From one partner.
Wait,
than
hold
the
on,
other.
Lav. You had your chance. Hold on. Let me just run down.
And I want to get to more of Destiny's points.
Yeah, wait.
too.
I'm just curious. Yeah, let's just go point by here. So when you say degrading, isn't degrading a little bit subjective? What do you mean? Like, how can I?
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. Okay.
It's totally subjective.
Okay, gotcha. Something that I'm going to be building towards here is a lot of Lav and your arguments against pornography, where you think that there are certain societal attitudes that we have towards pornography and how the way that we view it and the way that people engage with it causes these negative things to kind of ripple out through society. I would argue that a lot of the religious views that you have of success of sex have equivalent negative ripples throughout society. So for instance, this concept of sex being degrading, or the concept that the novelty is the most important or valuable part, means that people that make mistakes and they get in relationships that don't end up lasting forever end up having these negative thoughts rippling through society as a result of like kind of these religious views that you have, I think, are negative. In the same way that pornography can be negative as well. Because not everybody you date for the first time, not even every marriage is going to last forever, right? But when you attach these types of views to sexual behavior, people that have sex and then well-meaning people that might not last forever end up having like a degraded view of themselves. Because I don't think there's anything necessarily inherently degrading between consensual sex between two people, is there? Or do you think there's something inherently degrading there?
Yeah, and also I wanna pull back from saying that it's subjective. What I think I mean
Sure, that's
more is
fine.
that it's going to be more so framed by my religious position. But I think that sex should be for procreation. Absolutely, I think it's a great unity. It creates great unity between two people. But I do think that objectively, sex should be for the purpose of procreation. And I think when it's used for other purposes, you can experience many of the things, but ultimately it's a misused faculty, right? And that's kind of like it's the Catholic philosophical position where the reason for the faculty, the reason for the
It's to
expression is
build
for
the strength of the family bond between mother and father, and then to have children.
yes,
Right? Yeah,
yeah.
of course, I understand.
So
But that's
yeah,
that
sex
argument.
is pleasurable
Yeah.
because procreation is good.
You can have that argument if you want, which is fine, but that's fundamentally separate from everything else, right? If you want to rest on that argument, I think you could, but that's a fundamentally different thing. Also, in your point of view, do you view like NFP, like natural family planning, is that like an okay thing for you, or should you always be having sex with the intention?
Oh, contraception?
No. Well, contraception's out the door. You wouldn't be okay with contraception of any type, right?
Yeah, the position of the LDS Church, we don't have like a what would you call it, a catechism on contraception, the way that the
Well, given
Catholics
the
have
moral
it.
position that you've stated, that sex exists for purpose of procreation and strengthening the bond between mother and father, contraception has to go out the door. If God wills a child,
yes,
yeah,
correct,
yeah.
correct,
But now I'm
yes.
curious, what about like natural family planning? So like that means you're having sex around the periods of the cycle where the woman is less likely or not going to get pregnant. So after ovulation, before and after period, and then right.
I think that's probably fine. I'd probably have to look into it more, like
Okay.
the
All forms
philosophical.
of sodomy are off the books for you, right? Including oral sex. It's not good.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, and then the other thing that you were saying, oh great, my notes are like gibberish. Oh yeah, I had an interesting question when you said like there's a uniqueness to each partner where there's like the emotional bond. I think the emotional bond absolutely exists, and that's definitely the half of it. But I also think that the physical expression is something that should have some novelty or some uniqueness to it as well. And that the reason for the novelty is because, like, I think the sexual interaction, particularly penetrative sex for the purpose of procreation, is something that is novel and distinct, and I would say more meaningful than all these other forms, right? Of say like skydiving, like you said, or kissing, or anything like that, or even oral sex. When you mention that emotional connection, though, do you think, because this is like the manosphere argument, or it could be the manosphere argument, do you think because the emotional attachment to an individual that you're having a sexual interaction with is really like the guiding force there rather than the sexual interaction? Do you think men, by having sex with other people, are cheating in the way that maybe people assume they are, or the way that
So
people perceive they are?
I probably interpret some of these emotional things a little bit differently, but I'm going to project. I think I can make these statements. And I think this is generally true. Women tend to be more emotionally driven than men when it comes to things like sex. Tend to, not always, but tend to be. That doesn't mean that men aren't. But here's something that I'll say. I think that there are a ton of activities that we can participate in that can have varying levels of emotional commitment or emotional engagement. But I think with different people, that emotional engagement can get much, 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 much higher. Even on a mundane activity like, say, going to dinner. Like I've gone to dinner with tons of different people. But going to dinner, going out to eat with somebody that you have a really big emotional connection to or a really high chemistry with, that experience is never cheapened because you've gone out to dinner with other people. And I would apply that all the way up to like levels of like sexual intimacy as well. There have been some people that I've had sexual experiences with where it's like, I don't really have much of a like emotional connection to you. Like, it's fun or whatever, we do a thing and then we go on. And there are other people where it's like, wow, this is like a really special experience. I'm emotionally connected to this person in a big way. And I don't think prior sexual experiences, like prior dinners or prior walks or prior, picnics at a park, are cheapening the current experience that I'm having right now.
Then again, it would go back to the thing that you're doing, the interaction, the sexual interaction. And do you think a partner is out of bounds in their appreciation for the novelty of the sexual experience? Do you think that's like a rational thing to feel an attachment to? Or do you think, like you said, that, you know, you can apply the novelty argument?
Yeah, I
anywhere?
think that it's up to you to choose what you wish to value. So echoing a little bit cautiously, because I don't agree with all
Do you think
of
it makes sense though?
I don't,
because anybody can say whatever.
Well, so something that Lab said is something I would agree with. That if you want to value that for yourself, I think that somebody is totally within their bounds to do that. Okay, this is the only thing I agree with you on. Everything else you said is wrong. Okay, if somebody says like, I want a partner that has like 1 or 2 at the most body count, if that. I want a partner that values the novelty of the sexual experience in the same way that I do, and that's an important thing for you to value. I think that that's totally fine. But I think that that experience is found either religiously or spiritually or something else that's outside the bounds of like, I can prove this at a laboratory. I don't think it has to be something that it's like, this is just objectively better. I think that you can come together with somebody else who's like, oh, I fucked 100 people, they fucked 100 people. But like the experience that we're having together is very, very, very special because of the emotional connection that we have. And the prior connections to that, it could have been 1,000 people. It's not going to cheapen or change the interaction that we're having right now.
Okay, so what about that situation? What about the person you were in a relationship with and had a sexual relationship with prior? So let's imagine you go back in time, you're in that prior relationship. You're thinking the same thing. You're saying, I tried to get to this with Lab. It's like, you're saying, this is my favorite, you know, experience. Like none of the other relationships compared to this one.
So Lab couldn't explain this well. Okay, this is what I think she meant, or maybe she didn't, and then you can tell me if I forgot. Okay, when you're in it, you might think that it's, and this is one of the big criticisms of religious people. When you're in it, you might think, yeah, this is like the best ever. And then you get to the next one, you're like, this is the best ever. Just because you think that both are the best ever, though, doesn't mean that you're having the same experience. Because in the first one, it might be the case that you think this is the best experience I can have because you don't have a perspective for more experiences. When I was with the first woman that I was ever with, when I was in high school, I thought that like that was it. Like, holy shit, this is like I married her for college and like, oh cool, this is like the only woman and blah, blah, blah. And this is like the best person in the fucking world for me. She wasn't for a large number of reasons. But at the time, I didn't know that. But now that I've like met with and been in more relationships and met with more people and had more interactions, and now I'm with somebody like Melina, I can look and I can go, this is the best person for me. But when I say this is the best person for me now, as a 33-year-old with 5 like long-term relationships behind me, it doesn't mean the same thing as when I said it in high school, where I was like, this is the best person for me. Even though we're using the same words, we're fundamentally communicating 2 different ideas. Best person for me in high school just means that this is a person that will like fuck me, live with me, and we like get along and have fun together. Whereas best person now means that we have like really good ability to communicate. We are able to like explore a large number of hobbies together. We match on several like important personality traits in terms of being able to give each other pushback, in terms of being curious about each other's lives, in terms of like maintaining different friendships and independent. Like there's a lot more that goes into it, even though the same words are being said. So I would challenge what you said earlier. Kind of makes sense in that the words are right, the grammar is working, but the meaning behind the words are different. So when you're saying like, oh, well, you thought that was the best, and now you think this is the best, you might think the next thing is the best. That might be true, but it's not wrong. The next thing could be better than what she has now, but she's just not aware of it, or he, or they, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'll just kind of talk through like my reasoning on this, because that's something that I've thought about at length. And I had a buddy who's like, you know, why wait till premarital sex, or why wait until after marriage? Like what changes after marriage? Like why can't you just have sex with a person right before marriage? And it's like, because I think you're creating a boundary. Now, this is the way I think about it. I don't even know if this makes sense, but you're creating a boundary, and the application of that boundary may not even make sense, because you're having sex with the same person. Let's say you never divorce. You're having sex with the same person, sure. But once you're within the bounds of marriage, you have both sacrificed something that you wanted to be doing until you're in the proper context, until you've sacrificed for that relationship. And then you ultimately have the fruit. And that unity under marriage separates that relationship from all the other ones you've had prior. If you have sex with one person before you're married,
that's the only thing that can separate your relationship from all your relationships prior?
No, there's certainly other things, but it does create that sacrifice for the sense of novelty and for the partner. Now, destiny, of course, you're entirely right. If somebody just doesn't value that, then you can't compel them to value that. But I think that most people kind of have an intuitive sense that they would want their partner to take things seriously for them, and even be willing to sacrifice for them. Sure. And it's a mutual sacrifice of doing something or not doing something that you both want to do until it is the proper time that unites people even more so.
Sure. So I understand what you're saying. And on some emotional level, what you're saying is true. You're a virgin right up until the point of marriage. You have sex with somebody. They were a virgin right up till the point of marriage, and you have sex. And you guys have both made a huge sacrifice in your life in order to share that moment in time with each other. And that is a special thing that I'm never going to experience with anybody again. Lavs, I'm guessing not, unless she's a virgin and somehow had that the whole time. Like, that is true. There is like a special experience there, right? I agree with you there. However, you use a word there that you take for granted a little bit, and that's sacrifice. You are making really big sacrifices to get to that point. And in my worldview, I would argue that not all of those sacrifices are good. In my world, I'd say what you're sacrificing outweighs the benefit. There is going to be a novelty there, and that novelty is going to be something cool that might even be fun to experience, but there's other baggage that you've brought along to that now that might impact that. Like, for instance, when I have a sexual experience with a new person, if it's a really good sexual experience, like, that's something that's awesome to me because I can compare it to prior sexual experiences I've had. Like, I can say that, like, wow, this is really good. And I know that it's really good. I know it's cool because, like, this is like, I've got like a huge frame of reference by which to evaluate. I've got a huge like perspective by which I can evaluate this sexual experience. Two people that are, and I could use this and I could turn this around and I could flip this and I could argue when two married people say, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad we saved ourselves for marriage. Our sex is so good and it's awesome. What I could very easily say is like, you don't know that. You have no idea if you're having good sex or not. You don't even have a perspective on that. The woman might never come. She might not have no idea. She might bleed a little bit every single time. The guy might suck at fingering, at giving head. He might not have good rhythm. She would have no idea. Now, she thinks it's special because they subjectively value the novelty and everything behind it. But I would argue that in some ways, they lack the perspective to even say they're having good sex compared to somebody else that has that perspective.
But then what's the harm? Somebody in the chat actually mentioned something just like that, right? Like, let's say you've got Lav's situation where it's like, had a lot of sex prior, whatever.
Tons of sex, probably.
Figured out what's good, what's bad. And now you're in a relationship where the emotional connection is really good. But let's say there's a sexual discontinuity. The people who have saved themselves from marriage are arguably going to have a better sexual relationship even. Maybe they don't have the same reference, but maybe the lack of that reference is actually not to be like ignorance is bliss or whatever.
What does better mean?
Well, using Destiny's example, right? They don't have the frame of reference to feel like they're very dissatisfied, and they even genuinely believe that they are.
So I can make it better. So I can make.
Well, you have the reference.
Exactly to what I like.
You have the reference to be unhappy in your current relationship unless you have sex with
does
other people.
Everyone. So does
no, I don't think so. I don't think.
Hold on, real quick. Yeah, so I agree with what you're saying there to an extent, but it is an ignorance is bliss argument, and the problem is I think it could theoretically cap what your maximum happiness is with a relationship. Now, you could argue that your inability to see that high makes it so you feel like you're always living the highest that you can, but it does seem like there's probably something being missed compared to the person that does have a lot of sexual experience and can see that their partner is genuinely like a really good sexually connected partner to them, no? Like, you can admit that you're losing it and say that maybe there's not much harm in that loss, but I mean, that's
probably what I would say is I don't think
the
there's a lot of
argument.
I don't think there's a lot of harm in the loss, and not only that, I think that the potential harm is overridden. I think when a lot of people like have that idea of like, oh, they actually don't know how bad their sex is. Well, who's saying that? It's people who have these different standards and who have changed what sex is supposed to be to them, right? Maybe that couple.
Are you pro circumcision?
No, I'm against circumcision.
Christ.
You're against it? Why?
Because I think it's unnecessary. There's a variety of other things. People usually retort with like but then you're like, then it's like gross. It's like, do you not wash yourself? So yeah, I don't think you should.
Well, no, I think
I'm not
it's the same thing. Like,
kids.
well, a lot of people say because it's like a loss of sensitivity, right?
Yeah, well, most people in your
most
people in your circles would say that it's like it just doesn't feel so good when you.
Okay, wait
sex.
here. Let's ask this question, okay? Let's say that you have a society that had never been introduced to meat, okay? Is it immoral for you to introduce them to meat? Because if they would have never known what they were missing otherwise, yeah. What do you think? This is a really hard question, by the way. It's not supposed to have a yes or no. I'm just curious to hear you explore it.
I'm thinking through it, and I'm thinking through it in tandem with the other example, because my instinct is no, but I think it's because the meat example is not similar enough to sex for me.
Well, here's I'm not going by similarity of that. I'm going by this concept of this is something that I've thought about for myself. Okay.
See if you
Wait,
can
hold
make
on.
it more
Wait.
analogous.
Yeah, I can make it analogous. Hold on. Some dumb fuck dog was barking. I thought it was loud speaking.
Also, I have to go kind of soon to hit
Sure,
chest.
that's fine. Okay, yeah. So real quick, what are you doing today?
Chest
Yeah.
and
What
shoulders.
all you do for chest and shoulders?
So I start on bench. I might PR.
Oh
I've
shit! What are you
finally been
PRing
moving
today?
some more
What are you
stuff.
doing?
I might. Okay.
One
I don't
rep
think I'm
PR
gonna hit
3. What do
220.
you?
I might not do 225 for 4, but I think I'll have 250 in the tank for 1.
Oh my
And I
God.
haven't PR'd on my bench for a while. But just 2 days ago, I PR'd on my deadlift for the first time in like 6 months, and I hit 440 conventional. I've got the video
Wow.
too.
Okay.
Oh, we're moving.
Wait,
We're
how tall are
moving.
you?
5'9".
Okay.
So I'm at like a good height for deadlifting and squatting and
Conventional, yeah.
whatnot.
Okay.
And for just being like a good person. 5'9" is like the height you should be,
Like a
or
woman.
lower. I'm not gonna manlet shame.
Okay, real
I'm a
quick.
man.
This is something I've wondered for myself, okay? What
Yes.
if you could delete the ability to orgasm, okay? Because I'm thinking for myself, now maybe not for you, okay? But I'm a fucking coomer. If I deleted my ability to orgasm, I'd get way more work done in the day. I wouldn't be fucking around with girls. Like, my life would be, yeah. But,
You're talking to me right now.
you
But then
wish.
you're missing
No.
out on life's greatest gift. Bro.
Exactly, but then you're missing out on like the fun of an orgasm, right?
Well,
now,
this is,
so there's two ways to ask the question. One is, what if you could delete it right now? Well, if you could delete it right now, the answer is almost obvious. It's like, no, I'd say no because I know what I'm missing. But let's say you step back to before you ever have your first orgasm, and you could delete it then, so you wouldn't even know what you're missing. Are you actually losing out on anything if you never even know? That would be like the more analogous example. That's a hard one. I don't know the answers, but that's like similar to like the sex thing, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very interesting question. Have you ever heard there's like a watch comparison of this, arguing morality. It's like if you sell somebody a watch that is a fraud, but they never know it's a fraud and are very happy with their purchase, is it even an immoral thing to do? It's kind of like different, but you have to just get into like, is it immoral to lie to yourself, commit a crime that you know of but not the other person? I remember thinking about that when I was a lot younger.
Well, maybe to go along to that, I can make that analogous to what we're talking about. What if a person lies about their body count before getting married to somebody? They say, oh, I'm a virgin, but they're not. But the other partner is happier for it the entire time. This is why women lie about their body count.
No, most women just decrease their body count from.
That's a lie about their body count, right?
Well, yeah, but it's for a different reason. In the case that you're saying, it's because they want to seem more pure. I would say no. I think there's an emotional or there's a this is a totally religious thing, right? But there's a baggage of sin that I think is inappropriate to ever obfuscate. And obviously, like the morality is greater than just like whether somebody is harmed by it. So in my case, with like the watch example, it would be immoral. Because you're committing, this act of fraud, even if nobody is ever hurt by it. My moral philosophy, and I don't know that much about philosophy, but from what I understand and from what makes sense to me, I don't believe that doing something is right if there's not like a negative consequence. I think it's about that overarching absolute morality that's found in Christianity. And that's a sin against yourself, right? So I do think it would be immoral for a woman to do that. Not to say, when I say like obfuscating sin, I don't mean to say like, yeah, I hate anybody who has ever sinned, because I've certainly sinned as well. But I think it's important to be upfront with your partner about that.
Yeah, of course.
Just because you've had sex before marriage doesn't mean you're never going to like find somebody who's Christian who will marry you.
Sure.
There's plenty of Christians who have sex before marriage who are men too.
Based.
No, cringe, but I mean, no, what is cringe actually is when men who aren't virgins do this like they fetishize women who are. And I see this a lot actually in trad like Christian circles online.
Wait.
The whole like trad LARP is so bad.
Can I ask a question? Holy shit, I just had I'm going to ask a sex question. Are you ready? I'm so curious.
Yeah, shoot.
So in your worldview, all sodomy is immoral, right?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to use like lubricant, or is that like immoral too?
I don't know. I'd assume it's not immoral though.
Okay, because I was going to ask, like, how do you get into the girl?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask, seeing as I have never done that.
Okay. I was just curious. I never thought about that before, but okay, never mind.
Yeah.
All right. Huh. I'll have to ask around. I'll have to find some married Mormons and see what they do.
I've got some Catholic friends who are, well, Mormons are like, it's kind of a mixed bag. The catechism on sexual relationships in the LDS Church is not as fleshed out as it is for Catholics. So I actually borrow a lot of my sexual morality takes from the Catholic Church, but that's about where it ends.
Okay.
Hey, why do you baptize for babies?
What, in the Catholic Church?
Yeah, I know why, but like,
It's
what
to
do you
get-
think
it's-
is
isn't it to-
compelling about the reason?
Well, I thought the reason was because we're all born with original sin, and baptism makes it so you can be saved or whatever, right?
Yeah, but isn't that the point of the atonement?
Atonement.
Yeah, Christ's death on the cross, his crucifixion, his resurrection, the atonement,
Mm-hmm.
the death for all of mankind for their sins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he suffers for the sins of all mankind, but just by being born into our fallen nature,
Mm-hmm.
supposedly the Catholic Church believes that we have to be baptized because of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the LDS position is that we will be punished for our own sins and not for Adam's transgressions. So just because we are born into the fallen state does not make us guilty of sin, and certainly not before the age of 8, which is the age of accountability.
Well, so for the age of accountability, the Catholics have the sacrament
Age
of
7.
Is it confirmation? I think is the one we do. That's where you confirm your belief in the church and everything. Although I think it might be like age 11 or 12. I think it's a little later. I don't remember 100%. Jesus dying for our sins, my understanding was that gave us the ability to rise from purgatory and enter heaven. But I don't think it addressed anything relating to original sin. Baptism, the sacrament of baptism, I think is supposed to cleanse us of or make us be able to live a life through God or whatever, absent that original sin that we normally have. But without baptism, you're kind of tainted with that. Is that not the case?
That would be interesting. Maybe I need to.
I don't know. Hold on, we'll go look it up. Damn, I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Jesus.
No.
But I thought
no worries.
baptism is for original sin, and Jesus dying was to like let us go to heaven. Because before Jesus died, like he died, he brought like a few people up with him, a few dudes to heaven. But until then, nobody was able to go to heaven, and then Jesus died for heaven. But baptism is just specifically for original sin, I thought.
Yeah. And this could be just like it would be a really interesting thing. I'm not saying, oh, thanks, Destiny Catholic scholar, for telling me all this stuff about the Catholic Church, because I don't like being put on that spot, and I know how that feels. But the idea that the baptism would kind of separate you from the fallen state, that'd be a peculiar belief. It kind of makes sense to me. I just wouldn't agree with it, of course, because I think the fallen state remains, because we are tempted to sin. Man's nature is more inclined to sin than to be pure, which is why we rely on God. But
Wow.
yeah,
So glad I'm Jewish. So glad I'm one of God's chosen people.
Yeah, really? How's that going for you?
Really good.
Yeah. How many sacraments do you
I
guys
get to have sex
How
with
many
whoever I want.
how many holidays do Jewish people have where the celebration is basically like X group tried to kill us and we survived? Let's eat. Isn't that like half of them? Like, come on, let's be real.
Yeah, they're haters. They hate to see you win.
True. You got one in this call right now, Kai. How do you feel as a griper? How do you feel about Jewish people?
I was gonna say to Lav, this is you are perhaps doing your best to achieve the archetype that like most groypers talk about, of like the Jewish woman who like brags about her sex life and this and that. But no, I mean, hey, I don't hate Jewish people, like, very genuinely. The religion is antichrist, like Matthew says very clearly. Who is he that denieth the Son, or who is he that denieth the Son? He's the antichrist. None
Jesus
come to the
Christ.
Father but through the Son. The same that hath not the Son hath not the Father also. So it's really difficult, the discussion of like whether Jews are going to get to heaven. But yeah, not a big fan of
Jews don't believe
arguing.
in heaven, so.
Yeah, well, I just think that's sad. I hope that you believe in Christ, and I hope to see you in heaven.
Well, she's literally Jewish.
I
That's
hope
not
to
going to
see you
happen,
there.
right?
I hope to see you there. Well, no, they
I
do baptisms.
don't think.
for
Yeah, I
them.
don't think being ethnically
If it
Jewish
exists,
deprives
I-
you from
It's
going
not
to heaven.
ethnically Jewish. She's religiously Jewish.
Well, I think that's why I said I hope you come to Christianity.
She's not going to.
I might. You can get
But
me
I
there,
hope.
Kai. You can
I'll
get me
pray.
there. You can get
I
me
can.
there.
Are you saying I can save you? You saying I can save you?
Maybe.
Let me
you
put
can
back
fix
on the
me.
baby filter. Baby filter's going back. No.
Jesus Christ.
I think you could make a good argument. I think I'm pretty flip floppy these days.
Yo, Destiny, I'm gonna be in Florida in like sometime in October. You want to lift weights
I'll be here, dude. Let's do it. We can gym stream, okay?
with Nick?
Yes.
We need to.
Absolutely.
We need to do that.
Absolutely, yes. We
You're
will
gonna
do
be
that.
benching more than Nick.
We'll have to bring him. We have to bring him. Dude, we can train him up. We got to get him shorts and like a headband and shit. Oh my God.
yeah.
That would be
we
legendary,
need
dude.
the most like the 3-inch inseams.
We got to get him like a
the-
tank top. We got to get him
Yep.
like some. Oh
We're
my
literally
God.
wearing my-
Oh, shit. I'll buy some Dom merch or whatever for him so we can like deck him out when he gets here. It'll be fucking sick. We'll get him some big squat shoes. He'll be fucking ready to go, man. Some
This
pre-workout. We'll get
has
him
to
jacked up
happen.
on
Yeah, the
caffeine.
weighted ones.
Weighted what?
This is your chance to assassinate Nick Fuentes. You take him to the squat rack and you
Oh
say,
my God,
you
and
say,
you-
all right, what you want to do? You want to do is you want to throw your knees as far forward as possible while
Holy
trying
shit.
to.
We can spot him on
Dude, oh
bench
my
and just walk
gosh.
away, dude.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I wouldn't do that. I would save his life. I would save his
course.
life. But
Okay.
that's actually in Hitman. In Hitman 3, the video game, that's one of the ways you can assassinate somebody. You can
Jesus
fail to spot
Christ.
them.
That's pretty crazy.
So, you ever play the Hitman games?
I didn't. They sound really violent.
It's just a lot of hitting men. But
Oh,
no,
sounds
you should
like
play them.
Lab's
They're pretty
favorite
fun.
game. Okay, I'll think about it.
No, she prefers the sequel, Hitting on Men, or women. But
Slut. True.
okay,
Base.
I'm gonna go hit. Oh, I've got like
Women?
no time.
No, dude.
Yeah, that too.
You've got time. Don't worry. Warm up. You're
No,
doing
I
PRs
have
today.
a show. I
Oh.
have to do Salvo's show with Michael Alberto in an hour and 11 minutes.
Holy shit! You barely got time. At least get your bench PR out of the way. You can do that.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's what
okay.
I'm saying.
Yeah. Go get it.
I'm going Mike Menser mode. Okay. What do you think? You ever hear about Menser and his high intensity training?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, there's probably going to be people in your chat that'll try to convince you high intensity training is good.
Is this the
It
same as
doesn't
high
make any
intensity
sense.
interval training or just high
Yeah,
intensity?
yeah, hit,
Oh,
hit,
okay.
hit.
Well, this is just for cardio, right?
Well, no. Oh, no. It's not HIIT. It's just high
HIT.
intensity
Okay,
training.
okay.
Yeah. And yeah, Mike Menser was this golden age bodybuilder guy, mustache, mullet, super cool dude, very charismatic.
Lav, pay attention to this. Sorry, go ahead.
This is big.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lav, do you lift weights?
She does.
She does?
No.
Oh, okay. I was about to say
Exercise.
maybe
I'm
I've
perfect
been
the
too
way I am.
harsh.
She's
way
too busy
God made
crushed
me.
carrying her depressive feelings around all
I'm
day.
perfect the
Yeah.
way God made me.
True. Okay, go. God
Yeah.
made you with the ability to build muscle, Lav. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
True, and actually that'll improve your ability
I
to
pole
bear
dance.
healthy children.
Absolutely.
Well,
And if you care
It's
about
just-
things like vulnerability during sex with men, you owe it to yourself and your future partners and to God
Be able to
build
defend.
or to Yahweh or whatever. Yeah, to protect yourself.
in case there's a bad experience with some random guy you have sex with, you got to
Exactly.
be able to protect. Also,
ahead.
breast milk and whatnot. But yeah,
Sure.
so Menser had this
Why are you
idea
worried
of
about my breast milk?
well, breast
Are you
milk is
hungry?
like
It's like God's sensu beans.
Baby hungry?
He's part of Suckle Gang.
I'm the
Yeah,
CEO.
you want
I'm the
Milky?
CEO. Destiny.
He loves
want
Milky. He
milk?
needs
So,
Milky.
That's funny because you don't actually have children, so you can't produce breast milk.
Not
I
yet.
can.
Well, she can. She's just not currently.
Well, yeah,
Right.
yeah. But anyway,
can.
so
If you get to
um,
sucking.
anyway, so this is so distracting. So
True.
Mike Menser had this idea
Yeah.
about high intensity training where he was like, if you train hard, then you can't train long. And so he would only work out for like an hour or like 2 hours a week before the Mr. Olympia. Like he would hardly train for long amounts of time, but would put on crazy muscle. And people think this is like a hack. If anybody tries to sell you on that, it's not true. There's a lot of like really easy ways of debunking it. Rest time literally debunks high intensity training. So
I'll keep that in mind.
Anyway.
Thanks.
I'm out of here. You guys have a good one. Thanks
Good
for
luck,
having
dude.
me. Bye.
Bye. Wow.
To defile that boy.
Yeah. Is that what you go for? The religiously pure ones?
I have a thing. I have a knack.
If you did it, he'd probably get kicked out of America first. Would you really destroy his whole life that way?
Maybe. Who's to say? If I have the urge, I can be very persuasive. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that to him.
Okay, because that sounded a little rapey, you know, just... Wow, it's okay when women do it. Cool, nice. Cool, toxic femininity right there.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I think he's a sweet boy. I think that I worry about people who are in the Mormon church, though, as someone who is affiliated with it.
Base.
I think it's spooky. But anyway, I think you agree with me way more than you agree with him.
I don't know what your fucking positions are, because you're hopping all over the place depending on the questions that you're
What do
asked.
you mean? My positions are pro sex, but
No, don't.
not-
Pro-sex is a boring thing. Pro-sex, Christians consider themselves pro-sex. That doesn't mean anything. I don't know if in a perfect world, if you would ever want like porn to exist. I'm not sure.
I think it's I would. I think that we should go back to like renting DVDs. You could be like, over 18, you got to show ID.
So then, but why is it earlier you said that it would be okay if like a 12-year-old watched porn?
Well, What do you mean okay? What do you mean by okay?
You wouldn't think it's a bad thing if like a 12-year-old was like watching porn.
If they found like one video, no, that's the way that it's been for years and years and years. I don't think it'll do any like psychological damage. The same way that like having access to like the whole world of internet.
Okay, can I flesh out a position? You tell me if you agree with it, so that I can feel sane. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First, let me explain what the frustrating thing is. When I'm asking you, would you be okay with like a 12-year-old watching porn? And you're like, well, maybe if they didn't have all the videos, they had a DVD or whatever. I don't know. It's hard to figure out what your answer is. I don't know what the fuck you mean by that. Okay, but I think I know what you mean. Hold on.
The question makes me very
hold on.
uncomfortable.
It's okay. Because I am a fisher of fish. Okay, I'm in your fish brain right now. Okay.
Oh my.
Tell me if this sounds like what you're getting at. Okay. Children or young people, minors, watching porn isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's something that we all naturally explore. A long time ago, people fucking listened to their parents fucking because they were all in the same room. 14-year-olds fuck 14-year-olds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If a child or a minor ends up watching porn, it's not a horrible thing. The issue is that when we say, should a kid watch porn, in today's context, a kid watching porn means a kid going to a website like Pornhub, meaning that he's not usually just watching one video and he's not just watching one certain type of video, but rather when he clicks on something, the propensity to click and click and click and click and go further down into these more extreme rabbit holes exists. And that's the thing that you're worried about when somebody asks, should a kid watch porn? So when you say something like, well, if they rent a DVD or if they just have like one video they stumble across, that's like a fundamentally different experience than ending up in the rabbit hole of clicking through more and more extreme pornography. Is that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
I think I made that clear. Why did you act? I feel like I made that super clear. Did I not make that clear?
Let me ask.
Oh no, you're asking chat.
I'm just curious because I figured this out like halfway through your
am I just like really bad at? Yeah, seems clear to me. Did not make that clear. Clear as mud.
Listen, I have a lot of problems too sounding weaselly. When I say words like probably, like Nick Fuentes is probably.
So clear.
People get mad, so that's fine. Okay.
Seemed clear to me. Yeah, a lot of people say that it's clear, but.
Well, no, 84% said that you were not clear. I pulled them.
Oh Jesus Christ!
But that's okay.
Well,
At least I understood.
Like me very much.
Well, sure, but I think also the way you talk around it is a little bit like confusing.
I need to. How do I not? I think I'm just kind of a.
Can I give you one minor philosophy blurb? Okay, are you ready? Here's an issue
yeah.
sometimes. Okay, when somebody says something, I think you have to work really hard at extracting the essence of what they're saying. Because do you remember how when you and Kai were fighting about like you're adding qualifiers or whatever? Mm-hmm. The essence of what Kai was asking was essentially, is it ever okay for a 10-year-old to like view a pornographic video? The essence of what you were countering with, though, was, is it okay to throw a 10 or 11-year-old into our modern porn environment? And because the essence was missed there, you guys were not connecting on the conversation. It would be like me saying, like, do you think it's okay to fuck a woman who is passed out on drugs? Imagine if I asked that question, and then you say, well, is it your girlfriend that you already have consent to fuck? If you ask me that question, it's obvious. Well, I don't want to say it's obvious, but the essence of what I'm asking is, can you fuck somebody who's passed out and clearly can't consent? And when you add a qualifier, we're like, well, what if it's your girlfriend and they've already consented? You're missing the essence of the question I'm asking. And then when you add those qualifiers, it feels like you're dodging my question. And that's what Kai was saying when he was like, you keep adding qualifiers. Because he viewed it as you dodging the question, but you were trying to clarify because the essence of what you were getting at was fundamentally different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think it's just being new to this space and not, he was obviously very clearly trying to like pin me, and I felt a little like, I don't know. I think it's just the way that I argue right now.
Well, the feeling, the reason why the reason why I felt like he was trying to pin you and you were trying to pin him is because you were both missing the essence of what you were saying. So it felt like both of you were squirming away from the point. That's what it felt like.
Okay, so what should I have done in that moment?
Take a step back and try to figure out what the fuck is this person actually asking me, or ask them to reframe, or ask them to give an example, to figure out like what is the actual question being asked, not like, am I missing the point of what they're getting at? I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just need to be better at conversations, I think. It's been a while since I've talked to anyone. I didn't talk to anyone for 2 years, and then I was like, I'm going to be a streamer.
Sure. You also have to, it's harder too because you're a woman and you're used to everybody simping for you and trying their hardest to simp up to you as hard as possible.
You're so fucking, dude, you're like doing this like performative anti-simp thing now because everyone thinks that you're simping for me, that you're just going to be fucking mean to me.
Actually.
You little ridiculous bitch. Have a backbone.
I do have a backbone. Okay. It's absolutely true, though, that if you're a pretty woman, there are going to be a lot of people that will suck you off during conversations. And every now and then you'll run into somebody that doesn't. And your instinct, your brain is to go, wow, that person was a huge piece of shit. But the reality is, no, he just wasn't a simp fuck like all the other people that simp like motherfuckers for you.
Never thought that. I've never thought that. I'm glad that people don't go easy on me. You're so fucking annoying.
Good. I'm glad I'm annoying. Good. Stay mad.
Jesus Christ. I appreciate that people are taking me seriously at all.
No, that's good. But I am saying in a more general sense, this wasn't supposed to be an insult to you. It is a genuine problem that when you are a pretty woman, you have an added layer of difficulty of your life of figuring out if any interaction is genuine or if people are just trying to fuck you. It's especially more difficult if you're trying to be taken seriously in some arena. If you're doing OnlyFans or something, that's great. You want everybody to want to fuck you because that's how you literally make your money. But if you're trying to be taken seriously in another domain, it's very hard to navigate all of those conversations or relations because you don't know if you're doing well or people taking you seriously or if they just want to have sex with you. It's like
True. I think that some people will just never take me seriously because I'm not even because they want to have sex with me, but just because I'm me.
True. But
which is fine.
Well, you have to fight against it. You have to be that much. You got to be a champion debater.
Do you think okay, I guess I can. Yeah. To me I'm just like, okay, if I can't, then that's their problem. But yeah, I guess I can try to level up, so to speak.
Sure.
But anyway, I think that we agree way more, and I ended up winning that debate. That's a W for me.
Wait, debate with who?
With Kai.
Obviously, I agree with you more than Kai. Kai is a fucking Mormon who thinks that blowjobs are immoral. No, you could say almost, and you could basically be pro-rape,
He's not gonna think it's immoral
and I'd probably agree with you.
Up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck. You can do it. I believe in you. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other topics you need to explore, or are you good for?
No, I feel like I've taken enough of your time.
Okay.
But I really appreciate it.
PayPal. You can send me I think it was $3.50 an hour we agreed on. So
shut up. You're so annoying. Okay. But I appreciate you having me on and letting me flesh out some stuff. Yeah, I enjoy this.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It's okay. I guess.
You're so fucking annoying. I'm gonna kill you.
Hang
okay.
up,
Bye.